God, you didn't give me any warning. Em absolutely gave me all the warning in the world. And
This
in
is our
fairness,
second time attempting
this is
to
the
go live
second
tonight.
time we tried to go live. So, yeah.
I don't think we're live.
I'm live. I can see the
Okay.
video. There's
Has it
like
actually come up?
stuff.
Yeah.
I just got the notification on my phone, which
Okay.
means it's only about 10 seconds behind real time.
Fair enough. I still have a waiting screen, and I saw an unimpressed look on Em's
So,
face.
so we
I
are
assumed we were off.
allegedly live.
Hey! We're only 3 minutes late,
Yeah.
which is pretty good for us.
Yeah, there we go.
Tech says we are live, okay? Deal
Yeah.
with it.
Excellent.
My phone just said we're live.
Yeah.
You just put your hands up in the air. Now we're just narrating over the same stream, and it's just going to become an infinite loop, and that is terrible watching for all of you.
Let's not do that.
Let's try not to do that. I give absolutely no promises.
It's all right. I've got no excuse for the rambling, because I'm only like, I don't know,
Yeah.
that much of a cider into my cider.
It's not very far at all.
So unusually, Aid is the only one with a computer today, which means if we do any CAD, which I'll be honest, I don't really recommend, but if we do any CAD, it'll be Aid that's doing it.
A lot of this is going to be reviewing things that we have CAD that are stuck on the car because we actually put them on the car this afternoon and they all fit. Oh my God, what a world we live in. And a few pieces that we managed to take off. But ultimately, this tonight is going to be mostly, look at all of these parts. Look at this box of... well, it's not really a box of shame. It's the box of misfit parts, which is... yeah, it's getting full. We're going to need a bigger box. We're going to have to do the inheritance machining thing, which if you haven't watched inheritance machining, you should do that after this. He has a box of shame, and he ran out of space in his box of shame, so he built a bigger box of shame that now contains parts from building the bigger box of shame.
By the way, just for background, the box of shame is all of the, like...
anything that broke, any measurements that he did that were wrong, which is largely why this, some of it is iterative, some of it is shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Yolanda just leaning in front of the video there.
It's fine.
Forgetting that we put the wide lens back on that camera.
The thing is, we have 3 cameras. Yola could just like say, "Can I move, please?" and we could just go to a different camera.
If I'd installed Blackmagic on this, I could do that myself, but I've apparently not done that on this one. So, yes, anyway, hello. Welcome to another shit show.
We have all the tech, we just don't know how to use it.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. We have, we've been trying to get all of this set up for some months and just changing things.
The
And
problem
unfortunately,
is we stream so rarely that by the time the next stream, because like we finish a stream and then it's quite late, we go to bed basically. Like we finish a stream and more or less just conk straight out.
and memory is just, well, memory.
Yeah, and like we stream on a Saturday, which means the day after is Sunday. We're back outside, back on the tools. We're not fixing anything in the studio, and then by the time I'm here again, it's been like a month.
Yeah.
And I bet you don't touch this studio at all in the interim.
Not live.
Yeah.
I go through, I tidy things, move stuff around, fiddle
Yeah.
with some wiring, but I very rarely actually power everything up and go, I wonder if it works. Because I'm on my own, and it's either during the day when everybody else is at work that helps. Em is currently in tech chair, attempting to corral Loki, who may or
our sound tech
may
is
not.
currently playing triple duty.
Yeah, it's just the end of a tail you can see on the edge of stream, just about to hit Chris in the head. Yeah, there you go. Just throw it on the desk here, and hopefully he'll follow.
Oh,
There
he
you
goes.
go. This is Loki, for anybody who hasn't seen us before with all of the kiddies. Luna is AWOL. She's normally asleep on a bed somewhere, and
Binks is
Binks
probably
is
eating something.
currently not being a nightmare, which is a bit of a change. So yes, we've done extra things this time. We've colour balanced all the cameras together. Chris didn't see that happen, and ultimately, looking at it on the stream,
I did remark on how much before we were all here, kind of filling the frame out a bit.
Yeah.
When all I was seeing was like the white walls and everything and the white table, it did look a little bit like an asylum. It was very, very clinical almost when I was seeing on the.
It's a little bit too much blue tint. Which is annoying because I thought I had it down. We've run a selection of them because we've been using them outside in the sun, whatever, and they're all just kind of whatever they were. The camera up top, if we can go up to top-down cam, is it's an absolute nightmare. It has an SDI out, which is great. It has HDMI out, which is great, but the menu will only appear on HDMI, which is fine, apart from when you run it into SDI to look at anything. So I've got to run another cable, which I've now partially run for reference and setup, and that's basically it. But yeah, that one, they're all now set to 4,000 Kelvin. Before, these two were set to 56, and that one was set to 5600 as well. So yeah, and I think I've gone a little bit too far into blue territory. The walls are looking very, very light. They looked fine on the monitor. Now, admittedly, that monitor is far from color graded, which should have been.
Should I have brought my nice, proper, professional grade, calibrated Asus display? You've probably got like 4 of them upstairs.
I've got 2 of them upstairs, yeah. So yeah,
I've been told they can see the label on the can of cider. I don't think it matters. This
not for us right now.
Yeah.
If they
if Copper Big want to send me a lifetime supply of cans, I would be more than happy.
And if YouTube want to steal the 4p that we'll get from monetizing this stream, that's on them. But yes,
God bless Patreon, because it means we don't really have to care about the shittle that we get from monetization.
Yeah. Every now and again, some video does really well. I was actually looking at this the
really
other
well,
day.
is it like 50p?
I mean, really well in the grand scheme of what our content tends to do at the moment. This is not probably the chat that you turned up for.
Hello, Auto Animals. Welcome to chat. Welcome to Tech and YouTube Economics with PedalBox.
Is that James?
I don't actually know.
Yeah, Auto Animals.
You're better with names.
Hello. Yes.
You know people, and I just can't. I just show up and wrench.
Yeah. Cool. So it has actually resynced itself.
Cool.
Yeah. Some of our videos do extremely well. We get like 200, 300 views on a good day. But the worst part is when you look at all of the videos that are not the kit car.
And they're like thousands, most of them. Like the SD1 does well, the Thunderbird does well, the MX-5 video.
The 944.
Oh, yeah.
The 944 is currently top dog at a shade under 14,000 views, followed by... Because I normally do a Christmas rundown of all the popular videos. What was that?
The exhaust one?
The exhaust and the intake.
It's you put an exhaust and an intake on a you buy factory parts for a car and you bolt them on and you get 14,000 views. You build an entire race car in your driveway from scratch.
We barely have 14,000 views total.
I love it. I love it.
Interesting.
I don't care.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Is the most viewed, which you would kind of expect.
Yeah, people go back to start the playlist.
3,000 views. Above that, doing the big brake upgrade on the Golf to the 312mm discs.
What a shocker.
Then the SD1 returning from all of its paint glory.
Oh, I still need to get that car done.
Putting an OBD2 port on the VR, which was nice. Like that did well. Lots of people need to do that. Then the 66 Thunderbird rear brakes.
To be clear, what is it with brakes?
Fourth one down. That's the one that cracked 4,000, and then Rover Engineered, which is that's episode 15. Like that's been going long enough.
Yeah.
And then the top 2 videos, 8,241 views, putting Meister R suspension on an MX-5.
It's like coilovers. It's like the most basic bitch thing you can do.
Doing
with
the exhaust and intake on the 944.
I wonder if people are like clicking on that, hoping to see like a before and after lap time comparison or something.
Yes, unlucky.
Because we unbolted a coilover and bolted a new one on.
That would involve us taking a car to the track.
Oh God,
which is happening soon.
We have done so since we started PedalBox, Aid and I
don't
know if you've done any more.
Go on, get it right.
1.
Technically 2.
Ring doesn't count.
Okay, 1.
Yeah, we've been to 1 actual track day at Landau in the whole time we've been running this. The reason we started PedalBox in the first place was... we didn't start it for this, but like the first project we had in mind when we started was our little black Audi A3, which I think has been on the show 0 times.
You would be correct. Other than as a reference for... we went and looked at the thing that we have on the drive and checked and it fit, and it was fine. We've literally not used that. I did find, a little while ago, all of the original video footage from prepping it to go to the track.
Because one of
our
early
one was
ideas...
going to be, hey, we've got a really dirt cheap car, and it was hilariously
Like,
cheap.
the original series idea was basically going to be, how practical and cheap can you...
Hang on. The original idea was, we have an audience, therefore we have we have an expectation to make videos, and we should make videos about doing work on our cars.
Yeah,
which
the
was
hope
the Mark
was it
II
would motivate
and your
us
Mark
to.
1.
Yeah.
And the Mark 1 has nothing. It has not.
Yes, I have failed to do literally anything with my Mark 1 Golf.
But then you got the Rover.
I got the SD1, and
So
in
that was
fairness,
fine.
Like,
And-
PedalBox has helped me do some with the SD1.
And then
so
I got the
did its job.
Thunderbird. So all we did, instead of working on our existing cars, was buy
Got
more.
and built one.
Yeah. Speaking of, I have got a new T-shirt
Yeah.
that I put in Discord the other day.
Oh, how did I miss that?
I
Let's
think
have a look.
actually I might have put it in a different one. To be fair, let me check, and I will bring it up. Yeah, it's. I'm assuming that many people watching.
I've been told I should send that picture of the cutting disc from today to the slow-mo guys to see if they can replicate it.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, I forgot to bring it in.
Should I go grab it now? You waffle for a minute,
Yes.
and I'll go grab it.
So I'm just going to grab this new T-shirt idea down, because frankly, this is PedalBox all over. That is now on my additional screen. Hopefully that will come up somewhere at some point, if it is actually doing its thing right, maybe. I'm not actually sure whether or not it's gone onto my secondary screen.
It's what's live.
Cool. Yes.
Garage key.
Might be in
The
the
look of temporary.
might be in the door.
in the garage door.
Yeah, in the back door.
Okay,
Yep. Yeah. Oh God, this is going to be a nightmare. Right. Yeah. The Lionel Hutz, attorney at law from The Simpsons, and the original was works on contingency, no money down. Oh, they got this all screwed up. Works on contingency, no money down. And yeah, works on current cars, no more projects. So yeah, that will be coming as a T-shirt soon, TM, which will be super. So yeah, hopefully we'll get that out maybe sometime this year, but we'll see. Chris is just going to go and get this grinding disc, this slitting disc, which went horribly wrong today, trying to work on the car. Today has been putting the rest of the front suspension together, and part of that involves we fit some new wheel bearings, and those wheel bearings need a little bit of preload in order to hold them together so that they don't flop around. And the front hubs have a bolt that goes through. So the ones on the rear, you might have seen from quite some time ago, has a nice big hub nut that goes on the end. I just realised I'm also not watching chat at all, so I can't answer a single question. So yes, it has a big hub nut that goes on the outside, as per many different things. And the R32 hubs that we have a bolt that goes through. Same spline, same just drops in. It has this big bolt that goes through and holds everything on. Fantastic. That works perfectly. Right up until you don't have front axles. So we need to basically make a stub axle, but not even an axle. It's literally just the flange on the inside of the bearing and then the bolt on the back, and it will hold it together, and everything will be preloaded the amount that it needs to be per the torque specs that we probably won't be able to find when we need them. So we had to cut down a pair of R32 half shafts in order to make what we needed. And this was perfectly fine. What I learned today was that the hubs are huge pieces of steel. Like
Not the hubs, the CV
sorry,
joint.
the CV joints. I knew conceptually that they were a significant chunk of steel because they weigh a lot and they're expensive when you have to buy a
they're
new
taking
one.
all the torque and
Yeah,
shock loads
exactly.
and everything of the drive system. So
But-
like, there's a lot of.
When you're trying to cut through, so it's kind of domed like this, which if you're cutting through on that axis, I guess you're probably going through quite a bit of metal. But when you're cutting through on that axis to
You're
try
cutting
and
all the way.
remove a flange, you're having to go through such a massive distance to get from the outside to the inside edge. And I was getting some stuff ready for the stream, doing the social posts, getting things generally sorted. And Chris was cutting through it for me.
Yeah.
And then he was surprised.
Yeah, so I got a good chunk of the way. Should we go to the top cam real quick if we're not already? Sorry, I don't know where we actually are.
It's about here for top
Okay,
cam.
cool. So, yeah, so I've been cutting for a while, and I made a few kind of rookie mistakes. So first off, I tried cutting through quite near the mounting face of the CV joint. It turns out there's a lot of metal there, and even once you get through that, you then hit like the cage, and of course every time you hit the cage, it moves.
Yes.
So you cut through a different part of the cage over, and eventually I realised what was going on, so I went to cut somewhere else. And I'm not entirely sure how exactly I did this, but somehow I made a grinding disc into some kind of eldritch monster.
Yeah, because
like I'm not really sure.
It was big. It had material.
Yeah, like it was
all the way
still
on.
out here. Like
and
it was
went
a good
from
size.
a half-used grinding disc,
And it just turned into a
to
cloud.
a cloud, and just string spinning at pace.
So my guess is like I had the CV joint kind of sat in a vise with the stub, not really stub axle, but with
it's the CV outer with the splines on the top.
So I had it mounted vertically, exactly like that, like that mug.
Yes.
And I had the little bit that I wanted to cut off coming out on the top. So I was cutting in from the side, and because I was standing over it for the sake of safety, so that I was out of plane with the disc. I think what had happened, I must have like had the grinder slightly off angle.
Yeah.
And I was where like the disc was probably like the cutting disc was probably in kind of like that and leaning over.
And just where the sharp bit of the top
Yeah,
was leading,
and-
this bit was going by and just eating.
So my guess is like I basically thinned the disc down so much that it couldn't hold itself together anymore. And it just went poof into a big old cloud. A bit of it jammed up, but like mostly it just disappeared.
Yeah. It just went
Really
away.
quite odd.
Yeah. So I've just noticed John is in chat. Hi, John. Hopefully, all things being equal, John is coming to the UK and it's going to be hilarious.
Yes.
And we are going to do a live stream when he lands, and then we're going to the Nürburgring. And then when we get back, we're going to do another one, and you may be here for that one.
I will hopefully be here for the one after the ring.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to the ring, but
Having
the combination
just moved
of
house.
having just moved house.
Welcome to
I
the
still don't
mortgage.
have a fucking car to bring. Something tells me that bringing my little Renault Zoe with its 160-mile battery, not a great vehicle for that road trip.
I was going to say, it would be fine on track.
Oh yeah,
Because you just run around it and it'd be
for
fine.
like the ring. Yeah, yeah.
But getting there, you're going to have to charge it 3 times. You can't charge it on the ferry, because that would be really convenient.
Yeah, charging it on the ferry would be great. Because like I could get it to here easily.
Here would work. You could
Yeah.
get it to Dover the night before, hotel, not really a problem. Charge it there. That's absolutely fine.
Yep.
But then getting it to... You'd get basically as far as Belgium and then have to stop for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or at least
And
an hour.
that's the big killer, because like it hasn't
Yeah.
got DC fast charging. It can only AC charge, which is like 20-something kilowatts. So I'm charging at something like 60 to 80-ish miles an hour. You guys drive along at double that.
Yeah.
Like, there is, and that's on top of the fact that the car's like it has a VMAX of like 80-something mile an hour before it like pulls the power out.
Yeah.
For legal
Okay, so
reasons,
if
they
we...
only do that speed while they're in the autobahn.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, totally.
Right, let me just see. I
The
wonder
de-restricted
how far
section
you would
specifically.
actually get on 160, assuming I have...
It would be a
enough
couple of
internet.
legs, wouldn't it? But yeah, especially at the rate you guys pedal along at. I wouldn't be getting 160 miles out of a charge. So it'd be even worse.
Yeah, okay, let's do the maths. Okay, maybe let's not, because... There we go. I couldn't find Dunkirk Ferry
Okay, so
Terminal
roughly
anywhere.
speaking, though, we're at how many miles?
So from memory, it is... Hey, there we go. Works on projects. No! Wow, maths
What's
is
the
been
number?
really, really slowly here. Dunkirk to...
So I
I'm
seem
just
to
gonna do
remember because
Dunkirk to
I've got it in my head as ferry notwithstanding. It's basically an out of here at 5 in the morning, arrive at 5 p.m.
4. No,
4 whatever. And it's about a 12-mile journey, of which the ferry is how many hours? I seem to remember being like 3-ish.
Hour and a half.
End to end, including like...
Oh, including arrival.
Yeah.
It's
So you're
it's
driving for like 9-ish hours?
It's 7:15 on the ferry.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, and then you're off at like 11. But you drop an hour, so it's 10. So door to door, you're talking about
So
thick end of 3
like
hours.
we're on the road
basically.
for like 9-ish hours when we're driving to the ring
Yeah.
from our home base here. For the back half of it, we're not really hanging around. France is obviously a slightly different story because they're quite
The
strict.
fastest I've ever driven is through France.
That was a special occasion though. But yeah, like, and we're
Yeah,
just,
we were
like,
late.
let's say we're probably averaging like 60-ish mile an hour. Like that over 9 hours is like 500 and something miles. Like
I think
it's not a
less
very
than-
long
it's-
journey.
No,
but
because the
it's-
Brussels ring road absolutely destroys
that's a good point.
it,
Yeah,
so
we go
you
to
are,
zero around Brussels.
generally speaking, it's about I seem to recall from door to door, it's like 450 miles.
Okay, that's really that's not very far unless you're in a car that does 160 miles on a battery charge, and then has to wait 2 hours to refill it, and then all of a sudden it's a very long
directions, and I want it from Nürburg.
Yeah, getting out of France is definitely something that you want to do as quick as you can. Generally, nothing wrong with France. It's just full of French people. I think that's probably the most English opinion I have. As a proud Welshman, my most English opinion is that I need to leave France in case there's any French people encounter me.
Punter how to. Also, the fastest I've ever driven is through France as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Through France or like on the big main straight at Spa?
So we were once coming through.
Sorry, not Spa.
We were once coming back from an event, and the toll road was very empty. So I made use of the toll road, and we had my friend in the back who needed to be back in the UK very quickly in order to continue work, because we had back-to-back events that were a good 300 miles apart in different countries, moving all of the stuff around.
Just to be clear, there is a statute of limitations on this.
Of course.
This is far expired.
Yeah, this is over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And we were coming back through, and I said, well, we could feasibly get the earlier, I think we were on the Channel for that, we could get the earlier train.
Yeah.
Like, is earlier better? And he said, however early you can get me home is better. And I went, very well.
Very well.
So he was sat in the back seat on his laptop doing various bits of pre-prep work for the next event as we tore from Disneyland all the way back to the tunnel at 130 miles an hour.
Nice. What was this in? Sorry,
in my TDI Passat.
Oh God.
And it was, bearing in mind, it was loaded to the gunnels.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't see out the back window because it was brimmed to the roof. Yeah. And we just went, boom, and tore through.
Oh, yeah, 100
Oh, yeah, 130 km. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we averaged.
So I've never really gone very fast in France, because actually, for the most part, I haven't had very fast cars. The fastest car I've ever had was my Volvo Estate, which was a Volvo. It wasn't even a T4, it was a regular like low pressure turbo one, so I had like 165 horsepower or something. It was pretty slippery though, to be fair. And I think in that I made it to like, I don't know, 130 and some change or something. Again, on a de-restricted section of the Autobahn.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I totally took that car to the mainland. But yeah, so that's probably about the fastest I've gotten. But the irony...
It's only, and I say this, it's only 270 miles to Nürburg from Dover. Which kind of tracks with my 400 kind of range.
It's quite surprising how much of the drive is in the UK just getting there. Especially for me, because I'm like, I got to come 200 miles just to get to here. And then I'm on.
Yeah. So you're actually almost equal parts. And that's being very charitable, because that's going from Dunkirk, not Calais.
Yeah.
Which, if you're doing the Channel, it's different.
Punto how to saying, the French police can be picky. If they don't think they'll catch you, they don't bother. I've seen the documentary that is Taxi as well.
You also have to remember,
I'm trying to
the
think
reason I've never joined you guys on a tunnel exploit was because I was 400 miles north from
Well, obviously this is a solved problem now.
Em used to live north of the border, so it was a long way to here, and then a long way over, and then a long way back, and then a long way back up. So it adds at least 2 more days to the whole endeavour.
Oh, it's a mission from up there, yeah.
I am aware of a friend of mine, I doubt he's watching, but if he is, hi Ollie, who came back a different route via it was kind of through, it wasn't around Brussels, it was going south through Belgium, down.
Sorry, Aid, I need to interrupt you. This is very important.
Yeah,
dinner's just arrived.
We might have to have a bit of dinner.
An hour later than we expected.
Yes. There might be a little bit of that. I will carry it while Chris is.
It's on film now.
Are we on? Just put me on that one. So he came back a much more southerly route than the rest of us, and I'm just trying to see. So he went the E42 route rather than the E40 past Ghent and Brussels. And
God, imagine deliberately being in Belgium.
He went significantly quicker than he should have been. Went past a policeman.
Thank you.
That was never going to catch up. He was in some saloon. Yeah, I think that's mine. He was in some saloon or other. And he went, well, radio travels faster than I do, so no matter what happens, somebody's going to catch me somewhere. So he slowed down. The policeman pulled him over, and the guy said to him, I could tell you were going too fast, because when you went past, my car moved in the wash. I was like, yeah, that would do it. But yeah, no, I can believe that the French police would go with the don't care. But if they think there's a chance they can get you, oh boy, will they. But yes. Yeah, Sweden is very quiet as well to drive on. I've only done that once, but I was in a van. Obviously, the Peugeot 405 is the winner's mode.
It's 5 or 6, actually. I can never remember. I always get confused.
I think the original was a 405.
Yeah, they did go to the next model for the fourth one.
Is that mine?
I think like 4 of us got pork balls.
Oh god.
So,
okay,
yeah.
fair enough. You might as well dig into some.
Yeah.
And I will hold down the fort. But yes, we have been printing many parts over the last few days. In fact, Chris was here for a day last week, and we printed a load of parts and stuck them on. And then between then and now, we started doing an episode, and we're like, oh, we'll print all of these parts and we'll make it work. And we'll get it done later today. And then I got carried away, and I modified many parts. So much so.
I'm just going to mute myself whenever I'm eating, by the way.
No,
so
that's reasonable. This is the pile of gear stick surround parts that have been printed across
this thing took so many versions.
All of the versions.
Now, granted, there are 4 parts to the whole thing.
And I'm only holding 2 of them, really, here.
So yeah, there's 4.
One down. I think that's all of the parts.
Should we put that on top-down cam for a minute? We'll just pile them all up behind your laptop for a minute.
Pass them well, I'm gonna like stack through them.
Okay. Are you actually gonna? Oh god, you're gonna go blow by blow on them.
Kind of. Just because I need to work out what they are.
Do you need
so
to?
that one, only because I want to see if they're all still here.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first 2 of the lower half, and then there was another front piece. And then another front piece, and then another 2 front pieces, and then another front piece, and then 2 top pieces.
Can you tell the front piece was the tricky one?
The front piece was significantly more difficult. So yes, that all got done. And did you get the one off the floor? Mm-hmm. Cool. So this is the absolute horror show, but the biggest problem that you have with this is, let me get rid of a huge number of these down here into the box of shame and stuff. So this is ostensibly what we made. That sits around the bottom half of the gear shift, so stickies here, and then this piece sits on top. And at one point I was under the delusion that I was going to be able to make this in 2 pieces. Possibly 3 by the time we get the top cover on. And I could not fathom a way to make these 2 parts in one go. So I made this, then made, I think, 9 iterations of this part. This one went fairly quickly, which was very pleasing. So they went away, and then that somehow still doesn't look right, and yet I'm pretty certain
if we go blow by blow on this, we're basically repeating a chunk of an episode that we have filmed.
Yes, and unfortunately, the other piece I've dropped down there.
Smooth. Yeah, I can't happy with that one.
No, not even remotely. But the big problem, as you can see, is the sheer number of contours and parts. Because this sits at an angle this way and sits over the gear stick. This piece then sits on top of it, so the front face comes up against the front of the dashboard and has to be at the right height to intersect, because the radio unit, the doubled-in unit, is going to sit above that. So this can't be too high up, but also needs to go far enough forward. So there's a horrible compound angle in here. And then this runs around the rest of the... Well, no, that was there, and I just sculpted it in so it used a little bit less material, and then went on and on and on. And now, if I had the other one, which is unfortunately on the floor, it would look really nice, and it would be stacked beautifully.
To be fair, you have made it slightly more geometrically complex than it really needs to be.
I have added a lot more curves than I realistically need. Tech is preparing me with the parts that I require. There we go. So that is the gear stick stack that sits on, and my goal is actually going to be to make these, to rebuild these into 2 pieces so that they fit together.
on the shifter, so I'm going to pop that in the Discord.
Yes, pop it into Discord and then I can open it up. Also, yeah, if you haven't joined the Discord already, there is a link, probably not in this video, but there will be one on one of the other ones. That the non-live videos should all have the Discord link in, and obviously Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, Instagram, etc.
Here's a policy
Chris, it helps if you unmute yourself.
Here's a policy decision we can make. Thank you, Tech, for telling me to unmute myself. I've been sat here talking for a while. Policy decision. When we're on stream and talking about stuff, and I say I'm putting it in the Discord, I haven't posted it yet. That's what I was about to ask. Do I put it in the secret
yeah, just put it in the dump.
For donors, or do I put it in the
general? And then I can bring it up. I mean, mostly it depends what it is.
So, no, what the policy question I was going to ask is, if we're on stream and talking about something, I feel like I should put it in general.
Yes, put it in general.
Yeah, cool. Okie dokie.
Yeah,
so,
if it's something very misc that's of not a great, it's a reference thing, then yes.
Yeah.
I do also have some video somewhere. Of panning around.
That's in the Discord now. So if you haven't joined the Discord, do that, and then you can see that piece.
Wow, I
installed.
have no idea where that just saved it to. That's very, very unhelpful. Oh, that's where it saved it to. One moment, and I will.
Oh, are we gonna get it up on the screen? That'd be very fancy.
That is the challenge. I don't know where it's opened it though, which is less than helpful.
Try to fling it to one of the monitors upstairs.
Is it actually on the right?
Yeah, there we go.
So we've also done all of the leather work on the dashboard as well, which is except for this bit, ignore.
Yeah, so we've padded and covered a whole chunk of the interior.
But this actually works, which is just amazing. But I could not conceptually get my head around anything that I needed to do.
That, like full screen on the stream? I know we sometimes can, depending on how everything's rated.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it already is. Nice,
yeah,
okay.
it already is.
Sweet. Sorry, I was looking at like a.
It doubles up
delayed.
on many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just popped up now. I'm also trying to load FreeCAD because then I can pull the object in that it is built from. Oh God, where is it? Gear stick cover 2. So yes, so that first one that's very square and boxy and horrible. I built that, got some reference points from it, and then scrapped that entire model and built it again from the ground up with all of the points that I'd learned. And now that I've got this built, I'm probably going to scrap the entire model that I've built for this one and do exactly the same thing. Because this, I'm assuming this is currently still what's on stream, this is the model part, which is very, very badly named and it's all kind of terribly put together, but it is such an explosion of parts and pieces all the way down through this, and there's a few 3D crimes gone on in order to add things, change things, move things, and then I've gone back and thought, oh, I could just change that, and I absolutely can't without breaking the entire chain.
It's your challenge of like if you're not very good at CAD, which obviously neither of us are.
Yeah.
And you're kind of iteratively working on something. You go, oh shit, like I made this piece, and then because like for anyone who doesn't know how CAD works, you don't like have a thing that you go, I'm going to add a bit here and remove a bit there. What you're effectively doing is writing a program that runs from start to end.
Yeah.
And through the process of running, it generates the output. And you can't just modify things at any point. Because if you modify something partway through,
this was the problem I had at the start, because I didn't do CAD originally. I did 3D modeling in SketchUp when it was good and not in the cloud.
And like the difference is SketchUp behaves like you have a piece of clay.
Yes.
And you have a single piece of clay that you can modify over time.
You can peel a bit off and it sits there and goes, oh, okay. And you can put that piece back and it goes, yeah, that's fine.
Well, like in CAD, you can effectively rewrite history.
Yeah.
And it causes some really interesting things. Like when you've designed a part like this and you're saying, okay, like I'm going to have this profile and I'm going to extrude it this way, blah, blah, blah.
For example, I rounded this corner off here when I made the bottom part of it.
Yeah.
And then when I was building the top part, when I got a couple of iterations down, I went, oh, and I could just have it so it would just sweep back into the next piece. I'll just take that fillet off. No.
And then broke most of the model? Yeah.
Don't do that. Oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's going all kinds of bad. So, yeah, which is why I'm now kind of settled on I'm going to rebuild it. And for the most part, it's not going to change much. It's just this side panel, this side face here, is going to blend into this.
I was going to say, I do think
nicer.
it's goofy that you've got two entirely separate things.
It doesn't
but I
look
guess when you're modelling them separately, it's...
Yeah, it doesn't look so bad in the car. I just managed to minimise too many things. It doesn't look too bad in the car, and by the time it's continued down into the top of the tunnel
once
down
it's more
there,
of a transmission tunnel thing, it'll be less
it will
of a problem.
look okay, and you'll have kind of the centre console that comes down.
By the way,
and then the gear stick surround will sit on top of it. But there is definitely scope to make all of that flow from the dash to the firewall, which will look really cool, and it's only going to cost me about 40 quid in filament.
And then some.
And if you'd like to help us buy filament, you can go to patreon.com/PedalBox show, and you can become a patron. And if you are on the $1 tier, you can sponsor us for about 18 months and buy us a kilo of filament.
Please do. So just a moment ago, before the stream I posted, obviously, as we do, because we're trying to pimp the thing, I've been posting the link around in a few Discords. You know the thumbnail is the CAD model for that?
Yes, it is.
And some other part, I can't remember, like the brake and clutch
Yes, it's
holder.
it's the one that's... Oh, I might have thrown it.
It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so that's on the thumbnail.
Yes.
One of the places I posted this is a Discord server run by an actual engineer.
Oh, God.
Who looked at the thumbnail and said, I'm judging the wall thicknesses on that model on the right. I said, it's okay, it's only cosmetic.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm still thinking about it.
Hang on,
so I'm kind of hoping...
I'd like to know which ones he's judging and why, because on the basis that this is going to get rebuilt...
I would wager either the front end... He didn't specify. I have told him that we're currently talking about it right now on stream, and he should come in if he wants to grill us.
Yes.
But I'm guessing it's probably either the front edge or the front half of the sides.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there'll be anything at the back.
This section at the back is just chunk all the way down. Like this is solid all the way through.
You say solid, like it's partial density infill, but yeah, it's
infill. But like there is so much weight that you could take out of that in order to make it better, and I just haven't. It's got a couple of recesses in for where the top part is going to clip on. And just kind of working through it. The back section again is not quite solid all the way back. There is a pocket underneath because it has to sit on top of the back of the pad at the very bottom of the gear stick. So there are two bolts that go down that will hold the back on. But yeah, it's it's very, very non-structural, and I try to stick to like a 3mm wall for anything that is non-structural. There are instances where it gets down to 2 or 1. Most notably, the new brake switch holder.
Because we're trying to really wedge that thing down as close into the corner as we can.
It is a 1mm wall down this edge, 1mm wall here, and a 2mm wall there, because the pedal box area behind the pedals is a very, very small area. We would have suffered pre-3D printers.
Tech is asking how we would have done this before 3D printers. I think we would have floundered for days and days and days making it out of sheet metal.
Yeah, pretty much. Because we did before we had the 3D printer try and do these things.
There's so many bits of the car that we've like kludged together with sheet metal.
And I look at it and just go, oh, I can do that so much more easily now. The innards of the pockets on either side where the little doors come up, they need to, well, they don't need to be sealed, but they should really be sealed from where it goes back into the side pods where the intercoolers are. And I've been bending and twisting this sheet metal to go round. Yeah, pretty much. We would have just used Kleenex boxes and pipe cleaners and toilet roll tubes and fully blue peated our way out of this.
Lots and lots of cardboard aided design.
Yes, and sticky back plastic. And yeah, it's trying to fit it in this little area. It's an absolute nightmare down there, which is why we've spent nearly 2 years putting this off, not least because it's such a horror show trying to clamber in and go under the car, and when it's remotely wet or cold or anything, it's just awful. So no.
To be fair, we've not been putting it off, we've just been like failing.
That as well. We've also failed a lot, which is why there is at least a dozen parts in there purely from 2 switches. And even the ones that we designed today that we're pretty sure will work, we literally ground up, rebuilt the models today for both switches, have issues. Excuse me, not least, the printer seems to have just started vomiting out wrong parts. Well, not wrong parts, but It's not doing it right. And I didn't have time to check why. And I suspect it's just my haste of trying to get these things done.
My guess is, yeah, you're banging them into the slicer and everything, getting them sent off.
Yeah.
And not checking
I'm
the
not-
orientation it's trying to print on, because I can see the layer lines on this one.
Yeah.
And it tried printing it kind of upright that way.
It was awful.
And you can tell, like, this is a fairly tall, thin piece. And
I must
you were saying
admit,
that
I
you saw
thought
it
I thought it was going to put much better supports in instead, and it didn't.
It just has to print it like that way up, and
Yeah.
it'll be fine. But anyway, it tried printing it tall ways, and it turns out it's kind of flexible.
Well,
at that height.
I did print it that way in the end, which is
Yeah.
why this is now.
Oh, is that a rerun of the
So
same?
this is a rerun.
Okay.
So if you pop it on, if we go on side cam for a second, I'll show you the failed one that printed on a terrible angle.
I
Which-
think
so
I would
it-
have Fun2 How-To's been watching any Easy Composites videos, because 3D printed molds to make forged carbon is like the reference way that they recommended.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry,
So
I
that's
talk about them a lot. I love Easy Composites.
so that's the part that we were trying to make, and basically it fits approximately. It doesn't on this exact model, but it fits on the top there, and then holds the switch inside, and then that attaches onto the car. And it was trying to print it, when I find the layer lines, it was trying to print it that way up, which is awful. And basically, when it was running it and it was dragging the filament out, it was just flexing this back and forward and back and forward. And eventually, the supports that it made under here sheared. It could have just printed it like that. You know, it's got a big void. It would have just gone straight up, and it would have done supports under this side. Perfect.
That
not
would have
a
been.
problem.
That probably still wouldn't have been great, because it's still quite tall.
It's
and
still
thin.
quite tall with a very
Lying
with a very,
down would
a
be the
very
winning move.
flat base. But then the next one that I did do it lying that way up here, and as you can see, it has infilled all of this. So once we're a little bit further in and we're done, I will be weeding out some of the garbage from this. But even that didn't print quite right. It's righter, but it's definitely not right.
But like this is the annoying juggling process with 3D printing, because you've got to mix, like, okay, compromise between where do I want the strength, like where do I want to put my layers for structural reasons, and where do I want to put my layers for like actually being able to print the damn thing reasons, because they're not often the same.
No, they are often very, very different requirements. But I mean, this one's not been so bad. The biggest thing I've been trying to get right is the texture. So there's a texture plate on the bamboo that we have, which is all right. Really, I'd like to avoid it, but I don't want to be supporting. Don't want to do a support piece all the way through here, building it that way up. So I've just done it.
This is where
like
Tech
this.
informs the owner of said bamboo there is a smooth plate he can buy for.
We're trying to buy it.
I was just about to come onto it. There is a smooth plate. We have used it before because Tech have one of these printers as well, and we've printed many things on that. And I looked the other day and went, do you know what? I'm just going to buy the smooth plate. And I went and I looked, and it's out of stock everywhere. So I'm currently on a notify list for when that comes back in stock, and I'll be buying it. But if I do all of this in one piece, it won't actually matter, because I'll just be able to do it as one.
For what it's worth, I will offer that printing, like if you're printing something like that with walls kind of from the bottom up, because I did this with my, I'm not sure if anyone remembers my goofy little tiny PC case I had just over a year or so ago. The base plate, the base plate was obviously printed flat on the surface, but all of the wall section that contain all the air vents and the I/O panel and the batteries, I did just print from the bottom up with just the walls, and it actually worked fine. Like, it is absolutely fine.
Okay.
The difference is it didn't have overhangs. It didn't have like a top for it to print. So it didn't need to support the top. It was just the walls all the way up.
Yeah, so that's the rub.
That said, with modern slicing, you should be able to just print like basically a little, or you shouldn't have to, but like the slicer should do this. It should just print like a little like tree trunk kind of thing going up, that then branches out to support the whole thing. So it shouldn't really add.
It should be
a whole
okay,
ton to
but it was still
the whole thing.
for the sheer number of these that I've had to do.
Yeah, it would have been a fair bit. Of
It would have been. I didn't want to.
One of you just fucked your mic. The feedback. Tech would like to apologise for what just happened, but trust me, it was worse for me than it was for you.
For God's sake.
I am customer service.
Yes. Let's try that again. So,
This is what happens when these guys order dinner this late. Hang on, I'm going to put it up again.
So
Hang on. To
I
be
made a
fair,
lower third for this.
John just said I thought the Blitz was back on for a second.
yeah.
Right.
To be fair, we ordered dinner ages before the
It
stream.
was.
No,
yeah.
we didn't. We thought about dinner ages before the stream, and
Oh.
it
No, it
about
was
that long.
We ordered about an hour
I'm-
and a quarter.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I made my. I'm pretty sure Vix came out and
Yeah.
asked me what I was having an
It was
hour
about
before
an
we
hour
were
and a quarter
due.
before we went live, and there was one place was saying an hour, the other one was saying 45 minutes, and they arrived half an hour after we started the stream, so they took 90 minutes to get to us. So
All we wanted was some pork balls and rice.
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
think we
much.
ordered anything particularly like
spring rolls, like,
exotic.
it wasn't yeah,
standard like
Yeah.
basic white boy shit.
yeah, basic food. Like it shouldn't have been difficult, and yet here we are. But yes, so that is what we've spent a huge amount of time doing today. Is printing, reprinting, printing again, finding out that the print failed. Which, admittedly, in the entire time I have owned this printer, these are the first. Not quite the first. I had one where I hadn't leveled the bed or I'd knocked the bed and it just got angry.
You say
at
the
me.
entire time. It's been like 3 months or something.
I've run it hard.
Yeah.
I've run it a lot harder in the last week. This is basically half this box is in the last 4 days, 5 days, give or take.
To be fair, that machine prints real fast.
So yeah, so it has been going pretty
Do I
hard.
need to teach you the maintenance routines for re-oiling that printer?
Pretty much.
Okay.
it's probably due.
It has maintenance schedules.
Yeah, normally they're every 6 months unless it's heavy usage.
Yeah.
And
Which is why I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's every 6 months. It'll be fine. Probably want to make that 3. But yeah, so we need to do various other bits. Cheers, James. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, if we can get a few more bits done overnight, we should be able to finish off these brackets, which would be huge if we can get this done tomorrow, because if we finish those off, we no longer need to dig down through the floor for anything, so we can put the seats in and then we can put the floor on. And that gets us a huge way towards clearing up space in the garage. It means the floor goes away and I can get to the engine for the Golf again, because there's a huge box of bits down there to rebuild the bottom end of the Golf. And in fact the head gasket, so I can put the top on.
It's weird when you're talking about rebuilding your car, not so that the car is rebuilt, but so that you're freeing up room for other stuff.
Yeah,
because,
to build
yes,
another car.
It's incredible how big a car is when it's exploded into a garage.
Yes. We had it when we obviously put a lot of the car together when before we put it on the spit. We had a lot of things. We had all of the wheels, the hubs, the suspension, the engine, the cooling, the radiator, like so many parts. And we didn't even have some things on. There was panels that we didn't have on. We had no bonnet. We had no boot
At
lid.
spit
we
race
had
time,
no,
it had no panels, I don't think. I think it
had
was all framework.
Some.
I don't think it did.
It had some removable parts. Like, it
Oh,
had the
yeah,
floor,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It was the floor panels, but it had no bodywork that we could have taken off. So it didn't have the little doors for the cubbies. It didn't have a boot. It didn't have a bonnet when it was on the spit.
It didn't even have rear wings.
No.
And those
But
are the
again, they're
first things
welded,
we made.
so we couldn't take them off now if we
Yeah.
wanted. So it's functionally the same number of parts
Oh,
now.
in terms of... Okay,
Yeah.
right.
But by the time we take all of that stuff out, we have 3 sheds. We filled one completely with that car. We filled the garage,
One of which is
with
properly big.
an enormous amount of bits for that car. The internet just disconnected. That's annoying.
I wonder if the stream's gone down or if it's just you.
No, I think it's just laptop.
No, I'm still seeing us
yeah.
moving. I think
Stream
we're
is
okay.
still live.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just this is having great difficulty connecting to the wireless, which is through about 3 walls and up and next to bricks and just terrible. So I will try on the old hotspot again. But yeah, having all of this stuff just exploded everywhere. And ever since we took the floor off why did we take the floor off last? Probably, I don't doubt it was probably to do these, because we definitely didn't put it back on because we had to do them.
We took okay, so we took some of the front of the floor off so that we could get access to the fuel line that we crushed.
That was it. We took the we took.
And I
that
don't know
off.
why we went back from there, or if we went the other way. I can't remember the order of. I can't remember. It's been too long.
Did
There
the
was
floor
so many
need to come
bits.
off to redo the gear linkage to run those.
Yes. So getting the
Might have been
shifter
that.
cables in was in the tunnel, which is above the floor.
Yeah, but the
because
floor was already off
completely
by then.
blocks that. Oh yeah, the floor had been
The
off.
floor was off, so we'd taken it off to. We try to, because it's such a nightmare to take that floor on and off.
Yeah.
And it takes up so much space when it's off. We saved up as many things as we possibly could, and we kind of got to the point of cool. We can put the floor back on, and then derailed ourselves by finding a crushed brake line, which we had to fix.
Oh yeah, it was a brake line, not a fuel
We had
line,
to
sorry.
take the. I think it might have actually come off originally. The bits underneath the passenger cabin when we did the hydro handbrake.
Ooh, that would make sense. Yeah, I don't think it's. Yeah, it's been ages since the floor
Yeah.
bit was on, so it could well be that we pulled the floor off to put the handbrake in. And since then, we've taken that was so long ago that we've realized that wouldn't be legal on its own. 2, removed it.
Yep.
3, actually almost finished its replacement.
Yep.
This is a long pipeline of work for
Yes,
us
and
by
I
our
think
normal
that
standards.
that was the first time that we took that piece off since it went back on. So the rear part of the floor and the cabin part of the floor have been off since we did the hydraulic handbrake.
Yeah.
And that's when we found
I'd be
the
surprised
crushed
if
line.
that was more recent than a year ago.
It was definitely last year, but I think it was summer, August. Yeah, it was probably autumnish last year.
Yeah.
The video may have only gone out in the winter, but that's a different problem. But yeah, we took those bits of the floor off. Then we had to rerun the copper lines, and we couldn't find the flaring tool, so we had to get a new brake pipe flaring kit to do that. Then build the new line, then put that in. Then we took all of the handbrake stuff off, the handbrake cables off, to do the bearings. We had to do the fuel line. We had to do the not the fuel line, the brake line at the front. So we couldn't put any of that. And it's just one thing after another, after another, after
there
another.
was every part of the car. There was something
Yeah.
that we had to have the floor off.
And the floor's not even finished because there's meant to be a flat floor. Are you muted?
I was.
There's
Every so often I get a grim look from tech. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the floor needs to go all the way back underneath the engine.
Yeah, we still need to extend the floor.
Yeah, and there's 2 bits to go underneath the kind of back of the pods. Then there's a large section that goes on the inside edge of the wheel arches from the firewall all the way back to where the diffuser attaches, which will have a hole for the sump. So we don't have to
the
take
sump
it
hangs
off
down
to drop
so
it.
low.
Yeah,
The sump
it's
actually hangs
literally-
down below our floor level.
It's in line with the
is it?
lowest
Okay.
part of the floor, so
Right.
as long as you cut a hole, it will be approximately flat across it.
Yeah.
But the hole then needs to be quite tightly done, and the tolerance is bad, and
Yeah, we're
I
not going to
will
manage
feel
that.
bad.
So, yeah, the sump's pretty
pretty
low.
much.
But, yeah, if it's level with the rest of the floor, at least, if we bottom it out or when,
Yeah.
because sooner or later we're going to, catch a curb too aggressively or something.
we can put a skid
And
plate.
hopefully the floor will eat it
yeah,
rather than the
we
sump.
can put a skid plate under the sump if we really want
Yeah.
to. That will deflect some of it. Like that won't be bad, but I don't intend to go over anything savage
Yeah.
on that
I mean, at least in
section.
terms of, compression and stuff, we can set
Speed
bump
bumps,
stops
I'll
at
be
such a height
over
that...
yeah.
yeah.
Speed bumps, I'll be going over wheels up to try and make sure there's
Yeah.
as much clearance as possible. It's not like we're going to hit the exhaust. The exhaust lives above the diffuser. But yeah,
the car
so
is pretty low.
it has been
actually,
so long.
I wonder if the sump is level with the bottom of the floor, and the floor entirely fits inside. So under the bottom of the chassis, we've got flat bar stock running all the way around.
Yeah.
That the floor slots up into.
Yes.
I think actually, if you hit a bump, unless you hit, well, actually down the centre line of the car is different because obviously there's no
Yes.
flat bar there.
No, on
if
the
you hit
edge of the
anything
car,
wide-
you would hit the steel before you hit the floor.
Yeah.
100%.
So going over a full size speed bump,
Yeah.
for example, the body of the car would
Yeah.
actually take it.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just the
yeah.
little awkward little square speed bumps
It's-
could potentially.
It's dead center that you might get it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it'll probably have something, just like a sheet of alley in it, and that mostly depends on where it actually sits. But to a certain degree, I would rather not have it completely enclosed so that if there is water leaking, oil leaking, anything like that, it actually drips through and hits the floor so I can see it.
I would also say, if you're going to put anything underneath the sump, you want something so strong that it will actually survive. Not survive, but like it would probably get destroyed in the process, but it would take the impact without transferring anything to the sump. A sheet of aluminium will just go,
well,
and just completely give, and then all of the force ends up on the sump anyway.
If it's 1 mil, absolutely. I'm thinking ideally it's 2-3 mil thick aluminium just across that area with a little plate on it. But it depends how far it actually does stick through into the sump. But the absolute bare minimum is a piece of floor that matches approximately, to within tolerance, a couple of inches or so around the shape of the sump.
Remember, PedalBox tolerance, not
I feel not good tolerance by any stretch.
I'm getting myself into trouble here for introducing our own segue, but you guys should know about armouring aluminium from your Doomba experiences.
Doomba was all steel.
Oh, right, there you go.
Doomba was all steel all of the time, and I object to putting a plate that thick on because, goddamn, we will be over a ton just with that plate.
So I did actually. I was looking through some of Doomba's armor. I've actually had to put some of So, aftermath of moving house.
Last live stream that we did.
We
showed you Doomba, so you should
go
go
back.
back.
A month ago now, wasn't it?
Was.
Yeah, give or take. So about a month or so ago, I picked up a fighting robot that Adrian and I and a few of our friends built in 2016. Some of him is actually regrettably made it into storage, because in the aftermath of moving house, I still don't have enough room in my house for all the stuff that we're unpacking. Because it is me, my parents, my grandmother, all moved into a place I've bought. So loads and loads of stuff. So I've had to shove some of them into cold storage while my workshop is being used as a kind of dumping ground for everything while we're going through stuff. But before I actually did that, I did have a look at the top and bottom armor plates, and bearing in mind, not all of it is fitted yet. We still have multiple entire plates of material that we never got round to attaching to the robot. It's already something like
thick.
8 solid millimeters thick of steel.
It's at least a 1/4 inch all told with multiple layers. There's an extra 3 mil layer that we can put on if we see fit, but that we left that off because we weren't sure about overall weight limits.
Yeah, so we were basically going to add material until we hit the weight. Until we hit the weight restriction.
More good, however. There was also a question of ground clearance as well.
Ground clearance was getting to be a
problem. The more armour we put up, the less of the tyres were on, so we needed the full weight to see what the squash were, and just like...
Already sat in my workshop floor, he doesn't roll around all of the floor. Now, my floor's relatively uneven. It's not exactly like a nice epoxy garage floor or anything. But if I give him a good kick, because I haven't powered him up or anything, it turns out most of the batteries I got from him are completely buggered. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of lipo dead. I think I can salvage 2 good batteries out of them, which in fairness would be a huge win. There's like that'd be nearly 500 quid's worth of batteries, I think. If I can salvage 2 of them, but no power. So like I've been kicking him around the garage to test. And he'll roll along for like a foot or two, and then just go to a halt,
and just ground
as like a lump of garage just like catches on the lower armor. So I don't think we could have made him much beefier, to be honest. But yeah,
there is galvanic corrosion as well to be considered with that. So, but Doomba was all steel, fortunately.
Thankfully, galvanic corrosion probably not a big problem on a skid plate.
No, because the skid plate, the skid plate is going to be bolted onto wood because the floor is all phenolic ply on that.
Would then be your point of corrosion.
Why do I keep muting myself?
I don't know why you keep muting
I think
yourself.
I keep going, right, I'm going to mute myself so that I can eat without putting...
But you've not eaten anything.
I haven't, no. I've been like, you know what? I've had like basically the entire bag of balls. I think I think I'm ballsed out for now.
You just keep casually just going...
I'm just going to put that over there so I don't get tempted
again. I don't want
again.
anybody to know what I'm saying. Off.
Yeah. That's probably for the best.
But yeah, it has just...
It's never a good time to interject that I could have been doing this muting for you here the entire time.
Yeah, he could.
I don't know, but it seems a bit rude to say I'm going to start eating and just expect that tech will notice it and like pull me down in time.
I mean, in fairness, I've already been doing angle cuts to try and let you shove a giant ball in your mouth without it being too embarrassing.
But yes, so this whole week has just been printing and printing and printing, which is mostly why the last couple of episodes haven't gone up. They are basically edited, but they need rendering, testing, and music, and like audio work, basically, which is my least favourite part of editing, which is why it hasn't happened. And I'm also going away for a number of weeks, not least to the Nürburgring when John comes over. So I've been kind of, it's fine, it's just building up, I have so much stuff built up to just drop like 2 a week. I could probably get through the summer.
Please don't. It's nice having a backlog.
Yeah, I know.
On the other hand, it's not nice when you film something in spring and like you appear in autumn saying, "Hey, the
weather's lovely." Also, everybody watching this is like, "It's December. Where are they doing this?" Which is kind of what happened last year when we're like, just before the weather gets bad, it has been peeing down for 4 months. But we're going to put the windows in.
When did the episode with the windscreen going in come out? Because the windscreen going in was like the last thing we wanted to get done before winter, or like as winter ramped up. And I think that came out in like February or March.
We did that in the end of... We did that in the middle of September, because it was before I went to duct tape, yes.
No.
Yes, I'm almost certain of it. I could check the timestamps if I went upstairs and see when we did it, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Jesus.
And then the episode actually came out somewhere in December.
I thought it was later than that, even.
I can check. I have the channel
it's not that big of a deal. The point is, like, the latency from filming to an episode coming out is really, really long.
Pretty much. Episode 150 went... Oh, God. Episode 150 went live February 19th. Wow. Which was when we put the windscreen in.
Okay, yeah, that's roughly when I thought. It was like February-ish.
Yeah, and that was... Maybe that was late October that went in then.
I swear, I'm pretty sure I'd already started at my new job by then, which would make it November, December. Like,
So
in my
it
head,
must
that
have
roughly
been-
fixed that sort of ordering.
It must have been late
It's all
October,
potentially like
November
4
then.
months or something.
But it's a good 3 months
Yeah,
at
3 months,
least delay on that. But there are... I actually went through and I pieced all of these out. There are... so we got episode 151 is out. So we've got episode 152 and 3 and 4 and 5 are all recorded as of today. 156 is started. So there's 5 episodes on the kit car. The Golf, I think, is going to be at least another 3 episodes rebuilding and installing the engine, but they obviously
Which, to be fair, you haven't
yet.
done. So
But in terms of things that are filmed,
yeah.
there is 2 episodes from Rustival, which also features James, who is in chat, I think, still.
I think James bailed a minute ago.
Yes, he might have had to. That might have been James that had to go, but yes.
Auto Animals is James, isn't it?
Yes, Auto Animals was on. So there's 2 episodes from Rustival that are basically edited. There is another 2 episodes from 18 months ago when we went to see somebody in America and their shop, which is, admittedly, it's just a look around their shop, but they've now moved locations, which is how long ago it was.
I do love, I can't remember which event it was.
I still have to do duct tape from last year.
Jesus.
So,
as in, please say 2023. Right, okay.
Duct Tape
2022 video came out.
went live the day of Duct Tape 2023.
I'll be honest, topical content aid.
Yeah.
I can't judge. I'm late on everything I promised this show. I'm terrible.
At this point, the Duct Tape one is probably going to go live when they announce 2024's.
Yeah. Oh, so you're going to try and ride the hype train a bit?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But there are, I would say, 10 road trip episodes.
Jesus.
Which will carry us through. If you think that's 2 a month, that's 5 months. We're in April now.
Yeah.
Sorry, even if we did that as 2 a month, if we do it as 2 a week, that's still 2.5 months worth.
Yeah.
And there is another one that when I went over to see John last July, and we went to a nice car show in July, then there is 2 episodes looking at Route 66 on top of that. Then there's going to be going to the US again this year, and going to the Nürburgring, and doing more stuff, and there is enough planned content at the moment, not including working on cars, just the infill stuff for like midweek things, to get us to probably August, if not September. So much of it still needs editing, but it's just...
you know what, right? Controversial opinion, I've never liked the word content.
No,
there's something
it's
like it
dismissive.
seems synonymous with like mush.
Yeah, it's
in my head.
It's a bit generic. It's a bit yeah. White Knight has just joined us. He's
catching up
on 2 times speed. I mean,
I talk fast enough at the best of times. Me on 2 times.
In fairness, I did say last live, I gave 40 minutes notice on all the social things.
We've
and
doubled it today. Like,
and he
I don't
said,
know what you're
can you
complaining
do
about.
more than 40 minutes notice? And I said, the best I can do is 45. This time, I've done 90 minutes. I've better than doubled. Next one, all I need to do is like 3 hours notice.
Yeah.
Golden. So, yeah.
To
we'll,
there's an upcoming really loud buzz at 2x.
to be fair, it was probably quick enough that it just went boop, and it was enough. But yeah, I think he must have like caught up.
He did say catching.
Yeah, I
Did you
suppose
say
catching up. So
What's
You'll get
faster?
there.
What's faster, the glitch or how quickly I got to your mute button?
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I only heard it for a fairly brief
Yeah.
moment, so GG.
Yeah, it was well done. This is why we have an audio person
Yes.
actually working the audio desk.
Yeah. Would a non-audio person not like detect the loud?
No, they'd just be scared and not automatically.
Em's like, oh, this shit again.
It's like it's so deeply programmed that you just go. It's just, I don't know what I
What's the audio
did.
equivalent of like the big red all stop button in a machine
basically
shop?
that.
Yeah.
That
So-
would be the master mute button
Yes,
on the main deck.
that's
I went
the
straight
one.
for his channel instead.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah, it's and the other big thing we've been doing, as I showed in the picture on there, was we've actually covered all of the dash. We've put all of the padding on, and we've actually covered it. And here, before
I think I
throw
have a reasonable
this.
looking picture of it that I'm going to pop in the Discord real quick.
we used some cheap leatherette vinyl, which has a little bit of stretch to it because we kind of needed it to conform around some shapes. And this one isn't too bad. So this went over all of the panels. We got that from Dunelm, not a sponsor, just convenient. And we redid all of the dash, which now has a dent in it because it's been sat on there, but hopefully that foam will come back out.
Just as a reference, by the way, I've just put a picture from last weekend in the Discord.
Nice. I will try and...
It's not perfect because the clocks are fitted wrong and a couple of other bits and pieces,
Yeah.
but it's like roughly.
I will fix
roughly
that in a moment.
Cool.
Pull that down, put that up on there, and then we just go and find the thing.
I love how like you can hear your thought process slowly just like spiraling.
Hey,
into
there we go.
nothing.
So
God,
yes,
it's amazing how grubby it looks, isn't it?
it looks
It's really bad.
I'm so looking forward to being able to put a proper cover on it and just keep it
Yeah.
a bit cleaner. And a lot of it is actually the floor not being on because the wind
'cause
whips
wind can
through
blow everything
and
up
it blows
into it,
up into it. So anything that's on the floor gets blown up and in. We've tried really hard to keep so much rust and stuff out of that. We've done like 2 tiny bits of grinding, literally just cleaning up bits on where the clocks are and where some of these panels go in, and that's it. And we cleaned that whole thing down before we put on any of this dash stuff together with anything remotely nice with the foam or anything else. And it is already so grubby underneath the gear stick, inside these bits,
Oh, it's
down
hanging.
across the
It's so
transmission,
bad.
down across the tube tunnel down the centre. It's just awful.
It really
And
is
it's
quite
just because-
soul-destroying. Like, I can absolutely see why people want to build cars indoors. I don't recommend doing this.
No. Do you know what 2 people can do on their driveway with basic tools? This. Do you know what I wouldn't recommend? This. Do it indoors, get a garage, get a unit, get anything that isn't just doing it. Or
This does
be
feel-
prepared to do all of your steel work, all of your chassis work, move it, pressure wash your drive completely,
Yeah.
and then go back. And anytime you need to do that, periodically you're going to have to do it because we've got dust on dust on dust on dust. You can see the bottom of this picture. Our drive looks orange. Our drive is actually a very kind of pale shade of red, pink, kind of concrete colour, not vibrant orange.
Punto, I've tried to link the Discord in chat. I'm not sure if YouTube will block it because it's a link. It may work.
It probably will. However,
Okay,
Tech,
White
Tech
Knight's
can
got 2
probably
minutes
do
left.
it. T-Man has 2 minutes to catch it, which probably means he has had the boop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our lovely panel, which goes this way round. And I have some friends who do cosplay, and I basically hit them up and went, how? And bugged them until they gave me the lowdown on things to avoid doing. And there's still bits that I didn't put enough glue down, where this is kind of shaped and it keeps popping up. It's hidden, so it's not really a problem. The worst of it is actually these 2 patches that I put in the foam underneath.
Yeah,
which
where
is
the
a bit of
foam
a
was
shame.
like scarred from the tape.
And yeah, the tape had pulled it off, and something had got on it and then like rotted in, and I don't know. It was just.
I do
awful.
love in the episode where we initially put that foam trim on, you're sat there as you glue it down saying, I'm going to have to redo this because this is full of, marks and damage and everything, as you permanently glue it to the aluminium. I'm like, how exactly do you plan to redo this?
So it's actually quite easy. I
yeah.
literally got a Stanley blade and I just
Yeah.
sliced through and came off. Unfortunately, because we'd only done one side of the foam, I think we only did one side of the foam. I could be wrong. But once I got down and broke the seal on the bit that I'd cut
Oh, it's like
through.
we'd only glued the edges.
No,
so
we'd glued across the whole thing, but once I
Right.
started peeling it, it just went and came off really
Okay.
nicely. It wasn't actually horrendous to pull all the stuff
Yeah.
off. And yes, I will DM you on Discord in order to send that link over, or I will try and find it myself because as the channel, I can type it in.
Yeah.
Or not
Oh,
type
so
it in, but
I'm
you know
guessing
what I
my
mean.
link did not send then.
I didn't see any link.
Yeah, okay, fair
so,
enough. Just for the sake of
I
convenience,
might have just broken something there.
to save you making the link, I can just send you it. Oh, you already got it, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And
Bish bash bosh.
link. I
Yeah.
don't know if it'll be clickable. Oh no, it looks like it will be clickable. That
Yeah.
should work. So yes, you should be able
Join
to
the Discord.
join on that and see all of the garbage that we talk about with everybody else on there, which a lot of it is, hey, have you seen this? Wow. And moving on with our life. But yeah, it is really, really soul destroying trying to keep it clean. And I'm so looking to getting the floor on and
Yeah.
then getting a cover on that wraps around the floor just on the cabin area. And getting a new tarp on, because we've got one tarp that we've been using and we've got some wood to stop it sagging in, but I have a brand new tarp to go on. But whilst there are still sharp bits, it's just going to tear through, and whilst we're still grinding, it's just going to get sparks on it, so we cannot actually do it, which is really, well, we can, but it'd be a waste.
Quick question
So-
on the link.
Yes.
What domain name do we own?
Pedalbox.show?
Yes.
And why haven't we just set up discord.pedalbox.show to redirect to that link?
I
it's
don't know
A lot
how-
more sensible.
I don't know how to do these things.
That's that, yeah. I mean, I could... fuck it, I got nothing else to do. I'll jump on the DNS now and...
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, pedalbox.show/discord would be nice. Like
No,
to
No,
do the
Discord
thing.
dot is actually
Oh,
easier
sorry.
for me to
Yeah.
set up
Oh,
right
really?
now,
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
So yeah, just a small. We have a junk domain name. Let's put a real one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, do that. Somebody who has more time and memory than me. And I'll be honest, I've got the time. I don't have the.
You don't have the DNS access, though.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the actual rub.
DNS records. Add record.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, we do it in live.
Yes. Yeah. What are we
Would it
doing?
be a C name for this?
Hang on. Are we?
No.
Wait. Are we developing on live?
Oh,
here?
hang on, no, I'm not redirecting to a domain, I'm redirecting to a specific address. Okay, this is going to take a little more work. What did I do for shop.dot and everything else?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not asking you, believe me, like, this is
As long as you're
100%
only asking
rhetorical.
yourself,
Yeah.
you're not going to be disappointed.
It's okay, I can figure this out. This is fine. I know what I'm doing, I'm a competent professional.
What could possibly go wrong? If it's not DNS, it's DHCP. You'll need a web redirect, says Aid.
Mad
Yeah,
scientist. That's
it-
because I'm from north of the wall, so I can do this right.
How did you get the budget for Shrek on Soundtech? we imported her down from Scotland.
So yeah, if you want a bra brick moon lick neck to neck, donkey.
Yeah,
And on that note,
it's gonna be great when John comes down. He'll be like, go rogue.
yeah, and this is me toning it down
Yes.
around you lot.
You're enunciating.
Okay, I'm getting bored of trying to find the set up a new web redirect button in Gandhi's panel. I may leave this for tonight. For like
Yes.
after the stream.
We will
Because at the
fix
minute
it
I'm just sat
at
here
some
like, how
point.
do I do this? I can't remember.
We will fix it so that we either
Yeah.
have pedalbox.show/discord or discord.pedalbox. or whatever.
It'll be Discord dot,
because
because like I did that with shop dot and everything else because that was the easier thing to do.
Say purple burglar alarm.
Purple burglar alarm. I hate you all.
all John can gather is that you want your swamp back. M is layered like an onion.
Like a cake.
But yes.
Why do I pay you guys to make this? And then help as
yes,
well.
she is. Is
Glutton
also
for punishment.
not just working for PedalBox, but also a top tier patron contributor to her own abuse. But yes, we've as I say, we've printed an awful lot. I was going to go through some more of all of the things that we've been trying to build, and some of the horror show parts that we've been trying to make, and it's stupid little things like.
I forgot I did this, by the way. We've got videos.pedalbox.show, it turns out.
Have we?
Yeah. It just redirects to like one of the playlists or something on YouTube.
Huh. That's neat. TIL. We should probably overhaul a lot of the website stuff. So on one of the panels that we put in, we realised that we'd printed a panel that was absolutely perfect. It fit flawlessly. Capitalism Plus, getting your staff to pay you to work for them. Genius.
For the privilege.
It's not even a privilege, it's an obligation.
No, you frame it as a privilege. You sell it as a privilege. Like, yes, it is an obligation by contract, but...
Next time you start a fix that snowballs into 5 changes, you need to supercut him saying, "Quest? I'm already gonna quest!" Yeah, basically. That has been this CADing endeavour. I might do... If I get a web... Damn it. I just saw the strap bar. Revenge when tech feels it will be most efficient.
I think.
So yes, I keep on saying so yes because I'm going to come back to one of my tangents. We haven't had a tangent counter going, but by God, we've ramped up through them. I might do a dedicated
counter
yeah
at the end when you're trying to wrap up.
Also true. I might try and do just a run through of all of the CAD models, or if I get a webcam or something, or plug one of these cameras in, which is going to be comic, just having that next to my monitor on the desk. And just do a run through of all of the parts and kind of a deep dive into some of the mess and the crimes that we've done.
All right, discord.pedalbox.show should work as soon as DNS.
Yeah, it's the request has been put into the ether. The ether is currently processing.
Yep.
But yeah, we had. In fact, I can even bring up the panel that goes onto if I do it right. Oh God, I'm gonna have to do this way though, which is going to be a nightmare.
There's nothing fun about like mousing over your shoulder.
Nope.
So what are we trying to find? Sorry, I've been like zoned out for a minute while I was figuring out the web redirect for Discord. What are we looking at? Or trying to look at?
So this was the third version of the dash panel.
I'm surprised that only took so few goes, if I'm honest.
And
I expected that to be worse.
It's 2 pieces. So there is the main body, which prints face down, and then there is a little beauty ring that just sits around, which unfortunately I've made a tiny bit too big, and it just touches the ring that goes around the fan switch. And I've also shortened this panel by slightly too much because the fan switch selector ring, like the marks where it says 0, 1, 2, 3, it hangs off the bottom by about 2 mil. So I'm going to have to change this.
Yeah, I saw that when I was putting it in earlier. I was raging, but you also can't really move it up any because it's very near hitting the cosmetic ring around the hazard switch.
I could move this up, but that would be a nightmare. So I can make the panel just a tiny bit longer at the bottom.
Okay,
and I'll get away with it.
Yeah, okay.
I can't make it a full like 10, 12 mil like we've had before.
Ooh,
but
hang on, I've just had an idea. The other option, so the big thing that limits how high up you can put the hazard switch at the minute is because it hooks in, the panel hooks in from the bottom and it has to go back. If you hook it in the top and put the spring on the bottom, that can move higher up.
Well, no, that's not why. It would just break if I tried to move it higher up. That's why, it would just, the model will break.
Oh, right, okay, this is a model problem.
Because I built this bit first, made sure that this geometry for the switch worked, and then built the rest. Not the right way to do it, pro tip. But it works enough unless you need to make a fundamental change to your structure at a later date, and I don't want to play that game.
That's fair.
So we made all of this, and this fits absolutely perfectly, and I am at some point going to combine these clips into this model. But in the short term, I just wanted to print some test clips to see if they work and see if the alignment was right, because we've got some E6000 glue, and it kind of does work.
I'll be honest. I think it's a bit too like rubbery.
It's a bit too
almost.
spongy. I
Yeah, it
think.
doesn't really set
it's-
like like something like CA would.
Yeah,
I think
so
CA
it
would possibly
needs-
be better for this stuff.
But it's perfect for iterative prototyping. When you go, I'm going to stick this on and see if it works. It didn't peel it back off, clean it up, and put a new bit on, and that kind of basically works. I don't have an idiot's guide to starting to get to work with FreeCAD, but there are many series, and FreeCAD has a series on YouTube which is quite good, and I did a lot of that, and there are a few other ones that I went through, and they worked perfectly well for what I needed at any given moment. So yes, these little clips basically got glued on, and they did the job, but I do need to combine them into this so I can print it as one piece and it just works and does the job, which will be really nice. But basically printing all of these tiny bits is great because I need to iteratively test this. Cool, it takes 20 minutes to print a new set of clips.
I'm surprised
and I
it's
just
even that
glue
long
them
on.
So well, they basically, as you say,
But it's fast as hell. Yeah.
It's 20 minutes including bed leveling.
Which takes a while, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes.
It's a very thorough leveling process.
So yeah, there's all of those, and then the brake switch holder, which has gone through many things. The dual dash vent is somewhere down here, which again went through 2 iterations. But that is, I'm not going to lie, I'm very pleased with how that turned out. And I would like to put some arms on the side so I can wear it like a pair of glasses for shiggles.
I did quite like my what VR headset is this question in Discord the other day, whenever it was.
Yeah. But that, it's instead of having the centered pieces, which I think I actually have one in here, I have both of them. This is the original, which had a dead centered one, mostly so that we could just put it either left or right, up or down. It absolutely didn't matter.
One piece per vent.
At all. And it was, we just go, give me 2 of them, thank you, which was fine. Up until we had to put all of this gubbins in the middle to hold the Bowden.
Yeah. I don't actually have a picture of that from the car.
No, neither do I.
No.
But that fits on nicely, and in this version it also has some little holes which you can see better there when I put it up. And that's just going to have some dowels or pop rivets one way or the other, and we're just going to drill them through into the top of the housing so we can mount this to the housing, fit the Bowden in, pop rivet this on, it will all hold in, and then bolt that into the car, and it does all work nicely the way it fits in. So yeah, it is quite convenient for that.
On the Blender thing that's currently happening in chat, I say this without having used Blender. As far as I know, it's similar to like SketchUp and 3ds Max and stuff in that you have a model that behaves like a piece of clay that you can modify over time, as opposed to like in CAD where you build a program that builds a model. So if you want in CAD, you can go back in time and change a thing in the past and the rest of the program updates.
Yes, I mean at film school they use Blender and Maya and 3dsM. I think in the VFX course, but I didn't do it, and I had very little time with them at any point because of different courses. Like I wasn't in post for one. And Blender would be very nice to do stuff with because you can do all kinds of cool things. However, I don't have enough room in my head
for two different paradigms of But yeah, as you say, Nate, I don't know if FreeCAD is parametric. I'm not sure if parametric is the term for this ability to like go back in time and change something earlier in the kind of program.
I've never installed it.
FreeCAD is that type of thing.
I've never poked at it enough to do that.
In Blender, it's you don't so much say, so like in FreeCAD you'll say, okay, the program is like I start with this shape and I extrude it, and then I take that face and I do it extrude off of that.
I built a shape, I made it something, and then I took a bit out, and then I made it and did it and did it.
And the effect that this has is you can change one of the early operations, and all of the later operations still happen. And as long as you've like referenced things properly,
which I never do,
neither do I, to be fair. And as long as you've done that properly, the rest of the program still happens, but you now have a different piece of geometry that it was all based on.
Yeah.
But in Blender, if you want to do something like that, you just do another new operation on the existing thing.
Yeah. I've reached the point in my in my CAD modelling where I've moved on to a real program instead of SketchUp, and I've got to the point.
Oh, the number of problems you had on all your SketchUp exported models.
It was terrible.
I was always frustrated with your rage made me rage because you were always like, oh, but it looked perfect in SketchUp. I'm like, because SketchUp is lying to you
massively.
about the health of your model.
Pretty much. I think it's down there somewhere, and I can't be bothered to get it because it's a trash print. Oh, actually, no, it might be. I mean, this is the air filter one, which is actually round, and the one that I did in SketchUp and printed is about 16-sided, which is not the same at all. So that is the new air filter housing, which I did in orange because it was all I had.
PedalBox orange.
But it is also PedalBox orange, so I'm
you got to do the other half in blue.
Yeah.
I know we've done the other half in orange, or at least I think we have. But you need to do the other half in blue.
They are in fact both. Oh, hang on. There we go. You can see the difference between what SketchUp suggested was a circle, which is, I'm actually going to count the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this was 24 sides, and this was a circle. They are wildly different.
Here's one that really, really bugs me, by the way. Sorry, this is like some proper nerd shit that I'm about to complain about, right? So in the 3D modeling software, it knows that that is a circle. It isn't secretly 10,000 polygons wearing a trench coat.
Correct.
It's actually mathematically a circle.
It is a mathematical circle.
In your 3D printer's G-code, it knows how to draw a curve. There's a G-code instruction that says draw an arc from here to there at this radius, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what happens when you export your, the circle from your CAD software to your 3D printer that knows how to draw circles? It turns it into a sequence of straight bloody lines.
Yes. Perfect.
There is, however, thankfully, at least for Cura, there's a plugin called... actually, I'm not sure if it is for Cura, but there's a program called Arc Welder that detects when you have lots of line segments that are an arc, and it spits out an arc G-code.
Nice.
Which on machines like the Bamboo is actually important, because lots of line segments on a machine that runs through that fast, it can actually choke on the G-code.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know if it actually happens specifically on the Bamboo, like it could have some buffering or processor, blah, blah, blah. But if you're running in Octoprint and you're shoveling G-code into the thing streaming, it can actually choke. Yeah. So you want to run it through something like Arc Welder that takes all of your little lines and goes, oh, I see what this is. Let's just give you a perfect arc.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah, so my CADing has got to the point where I can make something, I can build something, and I can make it do what I want it to do. The next step for me is actually making sure that the planes aren't oriented to a face of something which is going to move and break everything. They are all referenced to the origin.
The other thing that you can do as well is you can add like data. So one thing that I found myself doing when I was building a PC, when I was building my PC case last year, I put dimensions. You can put a spreadsheet in FreeCAD and then pull numbers out of it.
Yes.
So what I had was on my base plate for the machine, I had like a base thickness value that was that pad and blah blah blah, a few other things. And then when I went to make the other parts of it, I could reference the same data. So I still had the benefit of I can change a number and all the bits of the model change, but they're not changing based on each other.
Yes.
So I can also change the bits of the model and there's no references to break.
That's the next step is getting my planes right so I don't break things, and then having like a reference sheet that I can actually use, which will just be god tier as far as I'm concerned. The other one I need to sort out is my lofting. Because
that's an interesting error in there.
I know why it happened, but I also don't know how to fix it. And having gone back and poked and prodded it, albeit only for a couple of minutes because I've been doing everything else, I haven't fixed it properly. And I just need it to join these two pieces together. So on this side, you can see the two circles kind of come down and they meet really nicely in the middle there, and that's perfect. That's absolutely fine. It would be nice to have a web that goes across here just to give it a little bit more strength. But you can see on the other side where that webbing completely failed and didn't join at all onto that face.
And this is...
So from about, I would say, a third of the way across, that face opens up and just splits apart. So like it's well together. It's not going to come apart. It's not going to break.
And
the flex is in the main body, not in the join. So it's okay. But given its PLA, it has a relatively low softening temperature. It's going to be in an engine bay. I don't want it to have the opportunity for a small amount of material, because that's less than 1/4 of an inch of contact at the ends there.
Just to preempt some possible questions here, a lot of this stuff sounds like it'd be really easy to do, because naively that looks like a profile that you extrude up. It actually isn't. The two the air filter and the chassis leg that it's attaching onto are not collinear with each other.
This one sits vertically, so that is the.
So if I remember right, this is basically two tubes that are extruded separately along different paths.
Yep. That's the roll cage tube, which if I get the other half, I can actually show you a little bit easier. So that's the roll cage tube, which is like the vertical datum, and then this, I can't remember what angle it is. It's like 12 degrees or something.
10-ish, 10-ish degrees off.
And that's where the air filter sits through at a slightly different angle coming past it.
Why did we do it that way, you ask?
It fit.
Because that's just where, it's just where the air intake and the inlet manifold, sorry, not the manifold, but the turbo intake happened. Sorry, the MAF.
It's where the MAF pointed out, and we didn't want to move anything else off that.
Yeah, so we've got like a chassis leg here, and we've got a MAF here, and an air intake here, and the leg doesn't actually match the angle.
And the filter comes down between the two, so yeah.
Oh, we've acquired a Mallory.
Hello. So yes, that's what's going on with those bits, and I need to, as I say, I need to go back and redo that. But in the meantime, this will work. This will absolutely do to get us the car driving, moving.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to try and do like a whole lap of the Nürburgring or something at full
longest term. The longest term, there are so many bits of the car that I want to reprint and do little changes to, but they are functionally kind of
alternate
okay
option.
For now.
If I get that CNC machine, actually no, I'm not even going to say if. At this point, it's when. I've talked myself into it. Yeah. When I get the CNC machine, that could be 2 small brackets that just go at the end, and then you don't actually like. I can actually just make those as like 2D profiles because they're going to be so small.
I think they would be.
The error wouldn't matter.
They would almost be too difficult to mount onto something as conveniently as putting it on the roll cage on the rear stanchion that comes down.
Oh, I was going to mount it the same way, just be like that, but just the ends of it.
Oh, okay, yes. I mean that would also
that,
work, but to be honest, I'd rather have the bigger chunk.
Yeah,
it just holds it. I mean, it's as much as we say we're trying to keep under.
I'm just thinking aluminium doesn't soften.
Oh, you're talking about doing it out of alley, right? Yeah. Then definitely, absolutely.
What
I was
did you think I was?
I didn't.
Delrin?
I didn't.
I mean, actually, Delrin would work as well from a temperature perspective. But
I think I would gamble and say the amount of Delrin you would need to do that in a big enough chunk.
I would not want to. No,
it would be 3. You'd be into a 3-figure chunk of Delrin.
Yeah, that's not a happy thought.
At that size, for sure. Yeah. So. All being well, tomorrow we'll have more bits that we can put on. The episodes will be coming to you soon enough. I mean, soon enough in inverted commas. Certainly over the summer. We are still working on getting this moving under its own power this summer. We were hoping to get it across the winter, but...
we've said that 2 summers in a row, to be fair.
November, December, I had a really good push and then got thwarted by weather at every step of the way. And I was like, fine, come January, when it dries up a little bit, once the snow's done, once all of that, we got into February and we've had either cold and dry, like 2-3 degrees Celsius, which is terrible,
since February,
it's been wet and 10 degrees plus.
Yeah, and like since February, to a great extent, it's been kind of a continuation of the problem we had over winter, which is any given weekend, either the weather's been crap, or I've been away, or you've been away, or I've been busy moving house, or something. There's always been something that comes up.
Just consistently something getting in the way.
Yeah.
And it's just...
We'll get
miserable.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I figure getting it actually moving under its own power has slipped about 6 months. From what was hoping to be December to about June.
Yeah.
But the plan is all of these bits in. Unfortunately, it once again comes down to we need to do a bunch of stupid cosmetic stuff.
Need to?
Well, for the IVA at least.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely need to for the IVA. Yeah.
And getting it moving is one thing, but as soon as it's moving, practically speaking, it's moving. Test it, make sure it works. Get it on a trailer, take it to an airfield, like an airfield track day thing.
The the big like opportunity for benefit in just getting the thing running past years ago. Like normally the reason you want to get it running is to validate that the mechanics work before you start wrapping everything up in bodywork.
Yeah.
Well, we've already done that. So actually the benefit of getting it running soon kind of
and that's
isn't
purely
really
down to
there so
COVID.
much.
We were planning on getting all of the wiring done, all of the stuff done, and then you couldn't come over to do anything.
Yeah, I was away for nearly 6 months.
It was a good
wasn't it,
6,
in the
7
end?
months. I couldn't get any of the parts that I needed really to do it. I couldn't get the people here I needed to do anything mechanically.
The wild thing is that's
electrically.
4 years ago now.
Yeah. So it just came down to what can I do that's interesting and requires a lot of work that I can just throw time at whilst I'm stuck in the house, and the body won, basically.
Yeah, because like you can't like
You're so limited by things,
Matt
but
could get the engine running
Yes.
on his own
Yeah,
with
precisely.
no access to outside tools and whatnot.
Exactly.
But we are not Matt.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's where all of the projects are currently at the moment, which is and yes, I would very much like a workshop that I could fit that car inside of.
I maintain that car needs to never be built in a workshop. That
Oh
one
no,
has
no,
to be
no!
finished
I mean,
on the driveway.
I mean, conceptually, I would have loved to have a workshop that I could have just started in and done it. And I think if you had it indoors in, say, even not a double garage, but a 1.5 width garage and a shed,
yeah.
I think that car could have been built in less than 2 years, even from scratch.
I don't
with
think
a concerted effort and not filming. Filming adds a huge amount of time.
Filming slows everything down so much. If you're going to build a car, don't film it. Don't build it outside.
Filming adds at least 50 to 100% onto
Easily.
your time.
Yeah.
Doing it outdoors adds at least another 200 to 300%.
Because it knocks out so much of the time.
Because
that
you
could
can't
otherwise
do
be
it in the
working.
dark as easily. You can close the doors and keep the noise in, so you're not being as obnoxious to your neighbours. Like, we have very good neighbours, and we get on with them reasonably well, and like
I suspect
we get away with a lot.
I suspect. So it is fair to like, yes, being able to work indoors would let you work more of the time.
Yeah.
However, that thing has been absolutely exhausting more
Yes.
than a few times, even without
You'd be able to,
being limited by weather and time
you'd
and
be able
everything.
to chip away at small bits, half an
Yeah.
hour a day, a couple of nights a week, and just little bits, and that makes such a huge difference as you go through.
But there's been a couple of times in this project where I've been
Completely
I've
burnt
wanted
out,
so
same.
desperately
Yeah.
to just say,
To just
Aid, you're on
walk-
your own,
yeah,
mate,
to
I'm
just
done.
I'd just pour
Yeah.
petrol over it and just burn it to the ground.
Yeah. Oh no, I never wanted it to die. Like I never wanted to.
I was-
But I
there's-
just like
there's
I'm
been-
just doing too much.
There's been
and like you were
days.
doing all the same plus editing, so I don't know how
Yeah.
you've managed, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As Punter says, like filming while trying to do anything, and when things go wrong, and you need to concentrate on both what you're doing and also if you either forget about the filming side of it, or you then have to contextualize on camera what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how you're going to fix it, which then eats up. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, so you talk to the camera and you do 2 minutes. I'm going to do this, and then you spend an hour
Because that
doing
usually takes a
it.
couple of goes. It's not 2 minutes. It's
No,
10.
but I mean, like,
But yeah.
In the best case, you spend 2
Yeah.
minutes, casual vlog. I'm going to do this thing, and then you do the thing. You spend an hour doing it, and it goes wrong, and you go, oh, why didn't it start over from the beginning and do it again
and explain what I'm gonna do
went
the right
wrong
way,
and the
or-
right way
yeah.
and but all of these reiterations take time to do.
Yeah.
So filming, as I say, adds at least 50 to 100% to
brutal.
whatever your timeline is.
There are exceptions. So I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's Nitro Silver. He was, and I
He was
I
building
this
the
as a
SD1.
particular example.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was building a Drift SD1, and he built a Drift SD1. Then he restored a diesel SD1.
Yes.
And his filming and editing was walking around and just doing stuff one-handed with his phone in the other hand.
But that's
And
a
there was
very
no editing.
That's
It was
what I
just
mean. Like
lopping it
that's the
down.
casual vlog style.
Yeah.
Like doing it that is
Yeah.
much faster.
Yeah, so
And
that's
you can
relatively
still
low impact. You can do
contextualise
that.
it.
Yeah.
If you've seen Matt Green, he
Doesn't
was
ring a bell,
building a Subaru-powered 6R4 rally replica, basically.
Okay.
And then he also did an R53 Mini with a twin-turbo 2.7 V6 from an RS4 in the back.
Okay.
And a lot of his is exactly that. It's I'm going to do the thing, and then he does the thing somewhat off camera, sometimes time lapse or something, and then describes what
This
he's
is kind
done.
of where we've ended up a lot of recent episodes, because it used to be, and we still try where we can, but it used to be that we'd film a lot of what we were doing as we did it.
Yeah.
But then we kind of got to a point where most of what we were doing was like
Same as what we've done
slicing
before.
another piece of metal, or welding another piece of metal, and it's like, it's actually like, you could we could pad out the runtime by including that, but it wouldn't really be informative, like you know how to cut metal.
Yeah, if you look back at the early episodes of what we were doing, it was very explanatory, which is good. Like, that's what we wanted. You do the thing, you do the thing, you do the thing.
Yeah.
But
now it's mostly us talking in retrospect about the thing we just did.
Yeah.
Or talking...
Well, not even that. I mean, the volume of work we do in a given episode is so much more now. Because
I think
we know what we're doing,
while.
B, we have a lot more confidence on what we're doing. At this point in the project, there are so many... Trivial is the wrong word, but very small,
it's just piddly
little...
shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just really little bits of
and
nonsense.
it's not worth showing you as like, oh, we tightened some bolts. You know how to tighten bolts. It's easy enough for us to go, these are the bolts we're going to tighten, and this is why we're going to tighten the bolts, and then time lapse.
Yeah.
And then, so this is why this didn't, and so on and so on.
So I think just as a fun example, right? So this little brake switch holder,
exactly.
Really,
That is, as he says, you know, it's narrating over the video. Superfast Matt, that's his merch on there. Superfast Matt does it that way. He videos the stuff and then narrates it in the edit, which is a perfectly good way to do it. It works.
We sound like shit when we narrate, though, and maybe that's because we don't do it very often.
Yeah,
but we sound so much better when we're just freewheeling stuff on camera.
Yeah,
like it's probably obvious when you watch. We don't have like scripts or anything. We have like a couple of points that we want to hit on every bit that we're doing. We say, okay, like we're going to explain that I'm about to do this, this, and this. We've just done blah blah blah.
The only scripts I ever write and read near enough word for word is the Christmas sort of update, the end of year episodes, and because there's so much information to keep in, and when I'm doing a road trip visit to like a show, like what the hell did I go to? Radwood one, because there are again so many cars, but also the amount of video I have for each car is very limited. You know, it might chop down to 15 to 40 seconds depending on the car. And if I start rambling about the car, I go into the next one. Oh, and this one, and it just becomes a mess. Did it once, scrapped it, started over. And that's what I
takes
have
a lot
to script.
And God, that's even more. That slows you down even harder because you have to like script to the second.
Those 3 Radwood videos took probably about 4 to 6 hours combined to clip.
Yeah.
And 3 days to do the audio for.
Oof, brutal. So just
digging in the information out and going through and finding what every car was, what every engine was, trying to work out, just to put 4 lines of information.
You try to put like a little strap
corner.
on everything that has.
Because there's a lot of videos that go around and they look at the sort of the car shows and things, but I would rather try and give a little bit of information about whatever the car is, you know, particularly if you're at a show where there's lots of the same car around everywhere.
It does mean we show our ass sometimes by getting stuff wrong. I think that happened a few times at Retro Rides a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I think every Mark I Mexico in the country must have been there if you believe all the little bars that we put on. To be fair,
for all of those, I looked them up on the DVLA, and if it said Mexico, I put Mexico.
Okay.
If it didn't say Mexico, I didn't put it. So, yeah, the amount of them would have been. But it takes so long. It's why the Rustival video. I went up to Rustival and that was a great day out. And I've got 2 videos from that, talking to a couple of the guys there, and the amount of time it's taken me to get all of those bits of video together and put all the information from every car. Even just going, I'm only going to talk about half a dozen cars in the video. Well, it sounded weird going from what I've done before to only having half a dozen bits of like audio description. It was kind of odd, and then having lots of bits of information in the video as well. It took so long.
The one we did for Retro Rides, I think was it 2019 that we did like 3 whole episodes of because we filmed so much hill climb stuff.
Yes, it was.
And for that, we were hours and hours and hours putting all the info on all the cars on. It took us ages. And it was like pouring through the forums.
We went onto their forums, and the forums were helping us by going, hey, that's me, because we took every registration, made a list of them, then people put up their handles for whose car was what and what it was.
Even with that, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Circling back to the little piddly nonsense that we're dealing with.
Oh
on
yeah,
the car,
sorry. As Vic
like-
says, there were, I think, about 800 cars at Rustable,
Jesus,
and I didn't
yeah.
even get round half of them.
Yeah, if you gave each of them 10 seconds, you'd be 2 and a bit hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like I recorded 2 hours of video looking at probably 100 cars.
Yeah.
It was such a nightmare.
So, like rewinding all the way to the little piddly rubbish
Yes.
that we've been dealing with a lot lately. So this little pedal switch, I'm not going to get
You
into the
explain
design
that.
of it itself.
I'm going
but
to. I'm going to run.
it's good.
to-
Any. Oh, you've.
Yeah.
Oh, you have got your mic pack. Cool.
I'm
So-
muted.
Anytime I go to make a change to this, anytime we need to measure anything, it takes me a full 2 minutes to climb into the bit of the car that I have to be in to do so, because I've got to like step into the car and insert myself like through the floor so that I've got access to all of this. So literally just doing any iteration, measuring things for this is like a minutes long process. And yeah, there's so many little bits of the car now where it's such a detailed level of, you know, having to worry about like what radius the different corners are. Have we got foam in all the right places? Have we got locks and latches on various different panels and stuff like that? And like none of it's interesting. I mean, like it probably kind of is to the right sort of person, but I don't find it interesting, and I'm building the damn car. So yeah, we've got so much like horrible, nasty, detailed little bits that take us absolutely ages to do. But like, how do you provide video? I guess probably we could get like one funny video of me climbing into and back out of the car. I would like to do that.
I was going to say that, you know, I'm pretty sure most of chat would love to see just your
It was-
attempted Spider-Manning in and out of spaces.
So there's, right, on that subject, there's a picture in the Discord currently. If you go into the main channel in Discord, the link is in the scroll back somewhere. And scroll back a little bit, there's a picture of me like installed in the footwell of the car. And at that point, like the floor of the car, there's like a triangle in the driver's footwell, which is, I don't know, about yay big. A little kind of triangle that I slot myself down through. And it's like up here on me. And like I'm squeezed in around my rib cage, and like Aid comes up to you with the phone from behind, going, "Hey Chris, how about a picture for the Instagram?" And I turn around and go, "Hello," and like just looking absolutely goofy as shit, like normal. But yeah, that was pretty much the worst it gets in terms of getting into the car. So yeah, the rate of work is not very, like we're busy, we're doing a lot, but yeah,
it's a lot of doing.
it takes a while to get anything done.
It's a lot of doing without an enormous amount of output. And this stream has kind of just descended into, here are my trials and troubles of doing
Yeah.
this thing that I really enjoy, and it's so miserable, and it's not. It's great fun. Like, I really enjoy it.
Back over a few of the bits in chat, by the way.
But, good
Sorry, when
lord.
you're done. Yeah. Mallory's saying, as a photographer, every time I do video, I remember why I don't do video. It's like, I tell you, every time we do video,
Yeah.
we question why we
Yeah.
do video.
As an audio engineer, I also question why I do video.
Yeah, we got White Knight saying, I think we benefit from like a 6x10 marquee anchored to the driveway. Like, not
I
wrong.
thought about
but-
that. Other than the way there is a vortex that runs in front of the
Yeah, the way
in
the
front of
window
garage.
wraps around the house. Yeah.
And it wraps around, and it's interesting at times because you can see the leaves. They come in and they just spiral. Like if it was any taller, it would actually be a tornado right
Yeah.
in front of the garage.
Yeah, we get like proper little whirlwinds and
So
stuff in there. It's
the
quite
concern with that is that it will come around. And am I still muted?
cool. You were for a bit. I think it got sorted.
So yes, the concern with having a marquee out the front is either we'd have to take the lid on and off every time, or it would get blown away because there is a vortex that lives in front of the garage, and it doesn't matter whether there is a car in front or a car to the side, like where the Golf is. It whips around and just fills that area with detritus. So the marquee would end up just full of stuff anyway.
I have the same issue here. It has destroyed
Two marquees, there
says
you
White
go.
Knight. So,
if you look at Laurie's Mechanical Marvels, he recently had one of his marquees. He had to replace it because it had just gone and collapsed in the wind and the rain and just dumped everything on the various
There's
tractors
also
he
like
had
the
on
size
there.
of marquee that we would need to be able to fit lighting and the cameras and everything inside,
Which is the other
also massive.
Yeah.
So like at the minute we're fairly snug on the driveway. We're quite close up to the sidewall of the house on what's currently the driver's side of the car. And if there was a marquee in there as well, like okay, fine, like the marquee's not exactly made of brick walls, right? I get that it's quite thin.
Yeah.
But if you shove it right the way up to the edge, you're still losing space, and we don't have much space left to like roll the welder along on the other side of the car on the driveway without it ending up in the gravel.
Yeah.
So
If you had it on-
it's a bit iffy.
if you didn't have something that was exactly the same width as the garage, which is a bit narrow, then we'd have to move the Mark II Golf because the leg would go right down through the bonnet, which admittedly there's no engine in it.
We have thought about doing a carport. We
had
thought about just extending like off the front of the garage and then having like a single post that goes into the driveway on a corner.
I was hopeful that the landlord would be okay with that, and I didn't ask him because having got the bits and worked out where the cars would have to move around and do all of these things, it actually compromised the convenience of the layout of the drive as it was.
Yeah, it's
way too much.
The way some of us were parking at the time, if I remember right, there would basically have been a daily used parking space that would have been made unavailable by that, so that was out.
No, it wouldn't have been one of the daily ones.
Oh, it's where
But
the
it would have
it's where
been-
the van. You know, do you remember the little mini van that used to have the photo booth? That would have been inaccessible.
That would have been harder to get out because that lived where our work table, our little
where our current
our poor
picnic
picnic
is.
table that we abuse a lot
Yeah.
lives, and that wouldn't have been able to be there.
mean
And it
the
would have
spray
made
paint
getting
booth?
in and out.
That's the spray paint booth, right?
It's one of them.
booth.
So yeah, it's
It's well ventilated.
yeah. Just don't use 2-pack.
So, it would have been nice. So, back through chat again.
Yeah.
We could put GoPros on the frame, and genuinely, I would love that. Like, I think being able to have like a whole time lapse of the day, and if you run that over on like the credits or something, of just speed it through. That actually, I do think would be quite cool.
At some point,
Yeah.
there will come a time when the whole thing gets stripped down again before it's completely finished.
Yeah, a time lapse
And there is
of the rebuild.
There
would
is
be
going
incredible.
to be a multi-angle time lapse of everything going back together, but to put everything to go from as bare a chassis as we can get it these days, because obviously it has a lot of bodywork panels on it.
Well, there's minus 12 tangents.
Yeah, she's taking the mick.
Right. Okay. Oh, right, because we've overflowed. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure the tangent counter can handle more than 100. I'll see. I'll test it.
It's only an 8-bit integer.
Damn it.
Signed,
That's still
apparently.
over 100. 128 is 8 bits.
Yeah, no, true.
No,
well,
it's 255 realistically, but
if
an
you're
8
signed,
bit
you
is
lose one.
which is still 127. 7 bits.
Give me a sec.
The last one is
Yeah.
128.
Yeah.
2 to the power 7.
Yep.
So, I think just going from an absolutely bare frame, if it was 2 of us, would debatably be more than 2 days. Even if we left the wiring loom in,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't ever want to
I'd
remove
be
that.
surprised if we could do the whole car in 2 days now.
If we had a bunch of other people that all knew where everything went and enough tools, and that's the biggest one, it's knowing where everything goes for a given thing and how things need to
Like
be
if
set
we had
up.
if we had 2 or 3 more of me and Abe, we could
perfect.
accelerate it
We could
quite
do
a
it.
lot.
We
We
could
could put
do it
like one
in
of
2
us on
days
each corner and
comfortably.
piece of piss. But yeah. Even our most mechanically minded other friends. To be fair, there's a couple of people who I think are intuitive enough that they could look at a thing and go, "Oh, that will go there," and like actually, sort of draw the connections. Like they could see an upper wishbone and recognise it.
But it's the difficulty of knowing all of the idiosyncrasies, like
Because it's also like, what order do you have to put things on the car in for it to? And I'm pretty sure you and I don't remember a good
and
chunk of them.
there's also adjustment changes that we've made where we've just made a hole big and go, oh, it's fine. We know that it mounts in this location.
Yeah.
But nobody else would, without having watched 150 episodes and
No
being
one's
able
got time
to.
for that.
It's more being able to commit it to memory.
Yeah.
You know, I can commit it to memory because I've
Well, it's
built
just different.
the thing.
Yeah.
And even then, there's plenty of bits that I don't commit to memory. But yeah, an army surplus tent might work,
And
but
no, we probably can't put it on the rollover jig anymore.
no, I think the rollover jib would hack it. Empty, like completely bare, empty, it'd be fine. I wouldn't
That's the tricky
necessarily
bit.
want to.
I think we could modify the jig to take the weight.
No,
I mean, we built it. Like,
would-
we can certainly
It
modify
would,
it.
it would
but-
take it. I think it's overbuilt enough compared to some of the ones
Where-
that I've seen for sale.
Where did it actually attach to? It mounted to... On the front, it mounts... So we'd have to take some of the front... I don't think it would go on the front anymore.
It would
Because I
need-
think it
would-
attached,
It did.
like, what is now 1.5 feet inside the front of the car.
It does.
Yeah.
It would need a modified attachment on the front to to go on to where the bumper attaches to. But again, not impossible.
Yeah.
It would go on the back fine, but it's not just a strip it apart, throw it on, and put it up. It needs work to make adapters to go on it.
The other thing as well is now the center of gravity in the car has moved so much. It was already, I think it was bottom heavy. So if we had it on the spit roast and we tipped it like up onto its right hand side, it would want to come back down.
Comes back down to the where the chassis is.
And I don't know what the weight distribution would be like now, but I suspect, like my gut says, it would be very bottom heavy now.
It would be very,
and getting
very
it to swing up
bottom
would
heavy.
probably be a kind of a nightmare.
Yes. Yeah, you really...
And the thing wobbled quite a lot as it was, and again, like we can reinforce it, we can fix it.
That's easy enough. The main one that would concern me would be the shear force across the locking pin for when it's up on an angle.
Yes.
That would be my only major concern. I wouldn't want to necessarily just use a threaded bolt that we put through. I'd want something
I'd want like
that
a 14 mil like steel,
a nice big solid, like a shoulder bolt, like a 12-9 or something. That would be fine, but not threads, not something that's got a valley that would like tear or just bad. But yeah, pretty much. We are approaching 2 hours, which is not bad. Which, if we can wrap it up in the next 7 minutes, we'll actually be bang on 2 hours. And
that'd be very unusual for us. Normally we waffle for like a good 3, but just give you, slam it in the microwave.
Pretty much. But yeah, we're still working. In spite of the fact that you haven't seen any videos go out recently, there is an inordinate amount. If anybody hates shorts, unfortunately, you are in for a bad time, because I have dozens of them to go in.
So much.
Which, unfortunately, it draws traffic. Like, it does the job. The benefit of shorts is there is a means to not promote them to your existing subscribers, so you can just pump them into the void, and the only way you're being recommended them is if the void suggests them to you. It's not me
so we're not
pushing
inflicting
them
on
you.
Okay.
I need to make sure that does the right thing, though, and go from there. I will probably throw a few at the subscribers just for sort of A/B testing whether it does
right, okay,
better
so
or
my
worse.
complaint with shorts, it's not the shorts themselves, it's the player.
Yes.
The user experience for the viewer of
particularly
shorts
on
is
desktop, it's
absolute
terrible.
trash.
On desktop, it's awful. Phone is it's all right. It does the job, but yeah, they're all awful, but they are just annoying.
And it's like it doesn't need to be like this, because if you just
doom scrolling, the doom scrolling from PedalBox doom scrolling is just going to be looking at things we've done and going, oh god. The lack of ability to rewind on some platforms. Some of them allow it, some of them don't.
But like, if
one that allows it.
If you open a short and get rid of shorts dot, you just get the regular player.
Yeah.
It's like, just use that. It's so much better.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, sorry, this is
will
again me being a weird nerd.
They will be flowing through. To be fair, the majority of what the shorts are, at the moment, they're not cut down parts of our episodes. They are simply bits of the show visits. So it's a car from the show with the bit of like, oh, hi, Lokes.
That means anyone who doesn't watch a short is actually missing out. So we've got like the FOMO effect going on now. You've got to watch the shorts, otherwise you'll be missing stuff.
No, they're all just clipped down from other episodes.
Oh, they are clipped down from... Right, okay, sorry, it's the opposite. That's fine.
They're not us working on the car.
Right.
It's just stuff from shows where it's a nice short clip of a vehicle with some pithy bit of information and some numbers and stuff. So,
however, a short of me clambering into my hole. It's my shape. It's made for me.
There are
a short of that could work.
Yeah, there are a normal part. Yeah, there are other parts that I need to do. Thanks, Lokes. You're coming down over here. It's just a cat butt on screen. There is plenty other bits that I do want to do from the bigger episodes and trim them down, but because a huge amount of the information we vomit out is very verbose, or it's very involved with what we're trying to do.
It's not very trimmable, really.
It doesn't trim to a 15-second short, and if you go over 15 seconds, the drop-off is huge. Until you get up to something that is really, really, really good at a minute, and then it's gold.
I think the only way you could make it work with what we have is, so the start of the episode, the episode that we just started filming today, this time on PedalBox, is really, really, really short. So you could probably ship that with a bit of the video of the doings.
You can ship that with some bits in it and
squeeze that into 15 seconds, and you're probably good. There's almost nothing else we do that fits in 15 seconds.
There is
like, I can't explain one part of one mount in 15 seconds most of the time.
Some parts happen to be,
but
it is... Yeah,
I do wonder if I could use a bit more brevity.
The biggest problem that we have with ours, your sort of 20 to 35 second ones, is you're very searchable because you are a Fiat, a Punto, or doing something. Because we are a very unsearchable vehicle, like the Thunderbird, excuse me, the Thunderbird, the Porsche, the MX-5, the SD1.
Yeah, anyone searching for any of these
all
things,
do phenomenally. Anything
Yeah.
we do on, but doing it for the sort of our main build. People look at it and
car is
go,
not a very high traffic.
don't know what it is.
thing. Yeah.
And what we're building isn't a kit car. It isn't an Audi TT.
Well, like even if we called it a kit car,
yeah.
like
I mean, I do
but-
in all
yeah.
of the things
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the closest thing that I have.
Kit car.
Custom car.
yeah.
People look at a
But
custom
when people
car.
think of a custom, their head goes to, like lead sleds.
Yes.
You know, hot rods.
It's
and
something
stuff.
that's been heavily modified, not
Yeah.
built from the ground up. The kit car is the closest, like, built from the ground up thing. So
I wonder if what we actually have to do is rename it to like, we built a whole car in our driveway.
yeah, pretty much sensationalist.
Yeah.
yeah. And as you say, you know, it's yeah, not a flooded P1. Yeah, basically that. We built not another Copart car. We took parts from Copart cars and we built another car. Yeah, pretty much that. I did see one on the Autopian recently where they were talking about this mad lad who took a load of parts from a car and threw them all onto one other
Yes.
car. And I was a bit, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So when,
Well, the thing is,
when it's done...
the Autopian, in fairness, has done an actual article
Yes.
on our car already. So,
Yes.
you know, they know about, or at least...
Yeah,
at
pretty
least,
much. We 3D printed the world. Like it will be a good once it's done and we can do an overview on various parts.
Yeah.
The sensationalist, we 3D printed the inside of our car. Dead easy to like throw a video
Yeah.
together and it will hit really good stuff.
On the other hand...
We took a front engine and put
Yeah.
it in the back. Again, it's a good like retrospective episode. It's just not a good build episode.
Yeah. There is the flip side of all this, though, is like...
3D print a
Why would-
Lambo body for it.
The flip side of all of that stuff is like, why should we?
Yeah.
Like, the only answer I can see to that is because number go up. But okay,
Yes.
so why do we want number to go up?
Yes.
Like, and there's a degree of, okay, well, like, if number go up, more viewer,
Yes.
more good, presumably because
Yeah.
we're gambling on, well, we could build a better car faster if we had more Patreon support.
There is
and if we
already a
had more
plan for number
subscribers,
2.
that kind of stuff.
Chris wants nothing to do with this.
I am, yeah, I've made extremely clear, extremely many times.
Chris is out of the custom car game at this point. Like, reasonably.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason I want to do another one is A, because I want to see if I can do it faster. B, it's the reason we didn't build the kit car as the Caterham kit car is I've never been a fan of them. I find them a bit too
It was
small.
literally you. And
I
this is
wasn't-
going to sound more rude than it's meant to, but
Yeah.
it was
I
your
don't
like.
fit for
"Ah, I don't like the headlights.
I don't
It
like
was
the headlights.
basically
I
it.
don't like the look of them. They're okay, but they're not. It's not what I want to drive. Not
Yeah.
least because I'm too tall to fit in
Ah, what
anything
you-
that's standard.
What you want is the Aero 7.
Yeah, pretty much. So
That was the most
so,
gothic looking
yes,
thing.
pretty much. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Caterham, I love you, but oh man, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. But I will. I would quite like to build a sort of standard Caterham like Lotus 7, whatever you want to call it, kit
Yeah.
car, but not in its normal proportions. So it will be a little bit longer, it'll be a little bit wider, it'll be a little bit taller so that it fits me, because I want to drive it. But I also kind of like the idea of making it four-wheel drive with a Subaru drivetrain, which
Well-
is largely what M is there for, because M has had Subarus many times. And also, our friends at Ignition Motorsport do a lot of stuff with Subarus. So I have the knowledge now
Yeah.
to actually make this work.
Yeah. So you've said to me so many times, but the second one will be so much faster. I'm like,
It will.
it will. I don't
the second
disagree.
will be
I
so
just
much
don't
faster.
care.
But yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
doubt you for that.
Yeah. I would say I would be willing to go another round if you agree to
Basi-
commit to open
yes.
wheels or like wheel arches kind
Oh,
of
no,
things.
no,
We were
yeah,
doing
no,
a full
it's-
body,
yeah.
no windscreen, no roof,
Def-
maybe a cage.
Definitely windscreen, definitely
Yeah.
roof, but not the windscreen we have on this. It
Yeah.
will be a classic like 7 one, and it will
Like
be
a flat
cage.
one in a-
it'll
yeah.
be a flat one in a cage that's built to fit it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically. But it will be the classic Caterham
Yeah.
style.
'Cause,
So
like-
it'll be narrow body, wheel pods.
Yeah. So like that's a huge part of why this thing has taken so long.
Yeah.
Is because like we've built like 3 cars before. We know what we're doing. We're going to do something more tricky. Except obviously we haven't done that part. So we've done we're going to make a Caterham, but to mix it up a bit, we're going to put like a fully enclosed body, blah 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 on it.
I think the biggest problem we had was throughout it, we were constantly, let's do something different at the start.
Wouldn't it be wacky?
Wouldn't it be
Although actually, no,
amazing.
you know what? No, the choice...
Surely we can do it.
I maintain the driveline choice, dead sensible.
Yep.
Just take an entire front-wheel drive power pack and put it
Throw it in the back. Done.
Yep. That was probably one of our smartest stupid moves on this whole thing.
Composites would have helped, but also knowing nothing about composites and welding clearly being the obvious solution. Similarly, when I started doing the bodywork prior to that, composites for the body for this was actually the plan. Admittedly, the plan at the outset was carbon fibre, which was probably a bit bold.
I planned the carbon, like the dream.
Yes.
We thought briefly about it.
Yeah. We'll know more when we get around to that, and it will be fine, but it was not fine.
So what were you thinking for that? Are we talking homemade vacuum forming?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
We were planning on homemade vacuum forming all of the panels and everything, and because it was during COVID and I went, I'll just do it, I built the framework to get the body style.
Yeah, so...
And the framework dictated everything else, and I didn't know what the body was going to look like, so I just started welding tube together to get the lines that I wanted.
When I saw the framework, when I saw the skeleton that you'd made by like the middle of 2020, I was like,
the first time you'd ever seen the shape of the car.
So I was like, I was like, this is perfect because now we've got this skeleton and it is actually a skeleton. It's individual ribs and everything. I'm like, this is perfect because now we can take like cling film and do the same with cling film as we did with metal.
Yes.
Right. So we'd have a surface, and once you have that, now this you can't vacuum bag on this.
No.
But what you can do is you can hand lay up fiberglass directly onto it. So we could actually have made a fiberglass body by just putting it on the cling film, and then once you've done that, you can either just use it as is if it's not structural, which obviously it's not because the frame was really, really strong. We've ended up with a stressed metal skin, which makes it even stronger. Like the rigidity of this thing should be incredible. But we could have just like loose laid fiberglass over it, and that'd have been
Sparky
okay.
is 100% correct. Chris will commit if no roof, no windows, no windscreen, no mechanics, no electrics, no chassis. Chris will commit.
I would accept some of those things.
FX kit.
Electrics, I'd be reluctant.
Yeah, electrics are bad.
Yeah.
But
FX kit would do. I could do an FX kit cut.
Now having 2020 hindsight, I can see all of the ways to speed it up. I can see don't muddle your way through as you go along. The fiberglass was the way we were going to go.
Yeah.
I have hand-laid fiberglass before, admittedly on a much smaller scale, and I know why it went wrong when we did it then, which was for a cradle for a boat.
Yeah.
It was to go on a trailer, and it was to hold it wasn't the topper, what the hell was it? It was the lark that we were trying to do it for. And it had a steel skeleton, and we put the boat upside down, and then we put plastic sheeting over the boat so that it didn't just glue itself to the boat.
Yeah, kind of
then
a release layer.
Then we laid fiberglass, and then the metal, and then fiberglass on. And I think the reason it all went completely wrong, because we got ripples all the way through the fiberglass on the boat.
Okay.
And I think the problem was the plastic sheeting we put down was somewhat thermoplastic. The resin got hot, the sheet expanded, and then built all of these ripples into it, and that's where that went wrong. And
that'd be weird.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
We couldn't work out what the problem was, and it was only having gone back and like talked to my dad and basically going, "Do you remember when we did the thing?" Yes. And why it went wrong? Yes, it was because this. Oh, okay. So it's a completely... If we'd done the hand lay over a skeleton, we'd have been fine.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like...
That was going to happen again.
This is going to take too long to practice.
Yeah.
It's going to be too much of a nightmare. All of the things... Savage tangent counter at the top there.
That is horrible.
0 cars completed.
I think I'm actually on -1 because I had a running Mark 1 Golf and I killed it.
That was before PedalBox.
Yeah,
it's never been running in the life of PedalBox.
I had a running SD1 and it's currently off the road.
Correct.
Oh, actually, no, it runs. The SD1 runs. It's not -1. I can't drive it because it hasn't got a seat in it.
Thunderbird's never run under my ownership. The Golf was running when we started PedalBox. Actually, the Golf was running, but then caught fire soon after. but has been running since. So I'll, yeah.
But you killed it again.
I did.
I
The
think
GTO is alive. The A3
Yeah.
is currently dead.
But to be fair, the A3, I don't think... I'd call the A3 a freak accident.
Yes.
Like, the Mark 1
Pretty
is
much.
off the road because I crashed it and then didn't fix it. Like, that
Yes.
was me. I have not done
Yeah,
it.
the A3 was an
that's
unfortunate
different.
one that we'll get to once it's fixed and I can feel good about it. Actually being alive
Once you've, like,
again,
come to terms
because
with...
misery. Yeah, there's so many things.
Wait, I was like, I should hope the GTO's alive.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's come out to
yeah.
visit. It's...
Yeah, the GTO,
improving.
the GTO is absolutely fine, bar the battery that died over the winter because I think the solar charger plug came out and it wasn't in, and at that point it went.
Sparky raises a good point.
What?
Car gets sold to PedalBox. Combusts. My Mark 1 caught fire. Granted, pre-PedalBox.
Yes.
Your Mark 2 caught fire.
During PedalBox.
The A3 caught fire.
During PedalBox.
Yeah.
Thunderbird's been fine.
Yeah, you haven't bloody run it yet. It's not
Yeah,
had a
I
chance.
know.
Although we have plugged a battery in and it didn't catch fire.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to say, we plugged the battery in, we
Yeah.
have done some welding, surprisingly close to some interior that could have caught fire. We
How many
dra-
times have we set Aid on fire?
Oh, more than we've set any cars on fire.
Yeah,
I-
it catches
I've-
fire a lot.
Yeah,
Although in
I-
fairness, that's largely because like Aid stands here with the angle grinder with something in the vise and the sparks just blasting the shit out
Oh
of his
yeah,
crotch.
I'm not actually.
And his clothes just keep
I'm wearing a
catching light.
decent T-shirt of John, who was on earlier, Mad Scientist. This is his T-shirt. But yeah, so the battery from the GTO is proper dead. I cannot recover that battery to read more than 4 volts. It is doomed. I have another battery that will not read more than 7 volts, no matter how much I convince it to try and go onto the 12-volt charging circuit.
I mean, I've got a lab supply here that we can plug it and say, no, 12 volts is happening.
Yeah.
And how it reaches 12 volts, if a fire happens, so be
It is
it.
inevitable.
Yeah.
And I have another battery that is just dead, and I was a bit optimistic. But the Bosch is in warranty, so I can take that back to Costco
Beautiful.
and get a new
The Varta
one.
one should be as well. We've got a big silver Varta, or is that the Bosch one?
The Varta, the black Varta. No, it's not. The silver ones were fine. It's the black one.
Right. Oh, the silver one's
The
okay,
black
okay,
Varta is dead. That one won't go above 7 volts. That will
Right.
go up to 7.3 on the
Okay.
6-volt cycle and be like, this is fine. And when I disconnect or reconnect, it goes, no, this is a 6-volt cell. Like, it's
Nice.
definitely not.
Yeah.
So it won't put any more in. The Bosch goes to 14.4.
Yeah.
We threw it on the GTO,
Yeah.
cranked it. It cranked twice, did absolutely nothing, and dropped to 12. But that's under warranty.
Okay.
The one out of the GTO, which is a UASA, and as I say, that's just been drained by the alarm to within an inch of its life.
Yeah.
It was reading less than 2 volts when I put it on charge the first time, so it was a bit ambitious
It's a bit
to
done,
try.
yeah.
But it's also a reverse terminal battery, so
Yeah.
as you're looking at it, it has
Yeah, the
negative
FD one's
and
annoying. The
positive.
terminals are an annoying way around because I can
Yeah.
get batteries the right shape and size easily, but
Yep.
the terminals are always backwards. Yeah.
But Halfords do have one in, and thanks to your Halfords professional card, it's actually a reasonable price. It's
yeah.
like 80
Oh, the
quid.
trade's pretty good on
Trade-
batteries.
yeah,
it's like
so-
a 30% off or something.
Yeah, it's 80 quid instead of 100 and change. So that's going in on Monday, and then
Yeah.
that'll all be good, get MOT'd, and then off. Because as soon as we put the A6 on it and cranked it, it just went, hi.
Yeah.
It was fine. So the GTO's bob on. It just needs a bit of paint
Yeah.
to make
Which
it
I
look
honestly
track-worthy.
fucking hope so, considering you took it over in perfectly running condition just about a year ago.
Pretty
So
much.
yeah.
So, yeah, dead battery... dead battery counter. Yeah.
Oh, you can put 2 more on for Doomba.
Yeah.
One more
pretty
for
much.
my PC because I blew a weld on the battery for my PC the other week.
Yeah, so that can tick up some. Ooh, drill batteries. There's at least 2 of them dead.
Yeah.
The Festool ones are down.
Oh, yeah.
I've
So
got
I
2
got 2
V-locks
or
behind
3.
there that are dead as well.
Yeah.
So there's
I got
another
2 or 3 of your
4 we
Festool
can-
batteries that were definitely dead.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
looking
lots of dead
good.
batteries.
Yeah.
We're good at this.
Oh well, never mind. We'll treat our batteries better in future. No, we
We
won't.
won't. I've realised as time's going past, I'm just getting more and more cavalier with my lithium batteries that I've got. So a while ago, I spent like 300 quid and just got like a shitload of 2170
It's a
batteries.
bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, and like I'm just taking less and less care of them with every passing week. And I've realised, right? People say that lithium's temperamental. You've got to be like really stupid to make lithium catch fire. Like it's not hard to not burn these things down. I don't really understand the paranoia. But yeah, I've got like a whole bunch of them just like sat in storage. I haven't like balanced them or charged them or anything in ages. They probably hurt in terms of capacity. But,
Yeah, pretty much.
So
it just...
battery belongs to PedalBox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Accurate.
Accurate. Absolutely 100% accurate. That's... There are batteries that we own, and there are dead batteries, but they're all trending towards dead batteries. So, never mind. We'll actually start to wrap it up there. We have made it about 15 minutes over 2 hours, which isn't bad. That keeps the view time up, keeps the watch time going, which is rather nice. We will go and make more garbage from the 3D printer. I'm glad PLA is recyclable, because I would feel bad otherwise.
Yeah. I thought for a long time it was biodegradable. No.
It doesn't do well.
Over decades, it does eventually.
It doesn't do well in wet conditions.
Yeah.
And it will like
it's more that it
delaminate,
fails.
I think,
like
but-
it mechanically it degrades. It doesn't really rot.
Yeah,
like I
which
thought
is
it
kind
would.
of the problem that we have with... Oh, God, my arms don't bend that way. With this, which is... We've used the E6000 glue on it. And
I bet you could like laminate it or not laminate. You know what I mean? I bet you
it's
could.
a bit flappy.
Yeah.
But yes, there are various strength things to be fixed on that. But it has finally failed in the middle with lots and lots of, hey, look, it's got a little bit of flex to it, and now it has a lot of flex
I
to
would
it.
actually, I genuinely, I think we could sell these.
Yeah, I've already got
With
at
a bit
least-
of rework and a bit of tidying up, I think they're sellable.
It basically needs some keying on the back plate, which I didn't do at the time. I was just working it out for size, so this is still very much a version 1
That was a
piece.
nice noise.
Yeah, sorry, I burped. But it was to make sure that it actually fit the size. Oh, well, that's the wrong one, because it's a rear that needs to go on.
And we do it without the top section, because that's only there to take our lights for our car.
Yes, yeah, so you do it without this bit. Although, in fairness, it is probably going to have PedalBox put across in some white text, which would be rather nice. But, yeah, that is the plan for
it's
that.
completely come apart.
It has. It's been going for a while,
Yeah.
so... Yeah, I mean, this is how it will ship to you.
Yes.
and then you just clip it together. So, yeah, they...
Oh, I'm yawning. That's it.
They
Got to end
definitely
it.
need some work. And speaking of 3D printed bits for sale, we have key rings, which will be going on sale soon.
Oh, they're going
hell.
soon. Okay.
They'll be going up soon. I also found through Printful they now do flags as well, so you can get like a 3x2 foot flag.
I'm sure
of the
loads of
pedals.
people will buy those. They'll fly off the shelf.
I at least need 1 or 2 for the shows, which
Okay.
was more my, I could just get them to print them. That's even easier.
Gotcha.
And these are the little key rings that we've made. So we've been stress testing these on my keys, my parents' keys,
My keys.
Your
Also my
keys.
parents' keys.
everybody's keys we can possibly think of, just to see how durable they are and how
I
long
think because they're
gonna
quite
last.
small. They're quite thick relative to their footprint, and they
Yeah.
hold together really well.
So they hold well. They haven't knocked off. We were thinking about putting resin in the infill in the inside, but I don't think it needs it. I quite like the sort of textural, like extruded nature of them. It is rather nice.
I would be inclined to say as
yeah.
well.
Throw that on the other channel, on the
Yeah.
other camera.
Vision mixer fail. Oh, you're getting slagged off.
T'other cam. It's all right. It's so.
This is what happens when we put an audio engineer on video.
Yeah, but imagine if we had to do the rate card from for both jobs for one person.
Yeah.
God, we'd be bankrupt. That would be probably
What, us
10,
paying our staff?
10 months worth of our patron. So yeah, this is actually that's not going to work because
it's focused
the
for-
plane is
yeah.
like here. So yeah. So we have these. These are going to be going up soon, TM, and all of our patrons who are over like the $100 threshold, just because it's the easiest thing I can find,
Yeah.
will be getting one of these posted. I have the batch of them here, but I do need to run another batch of 20 off.
I bet if you really, really tried, you could, like, if you fill the bed with them and go layers up. Oh, then again, separating them out vertically would be kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But
It's 20 at a time fits on the bed,
Yeah.
and comes out at like 3-to-1 efficiency on the colours. Whereas when you're doing one, it's 15% efficiency because it has
to do
to
all
dump
of the orange bits, then all
'cause-
of the blue bits, then
which
all
is
of
great
the white.
when
Yeah.
you've got lots of them. But one,
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
like orange,
Yeah,
dump,
'cause it
dump,
has to-
dump,
it
dump.
has to purge the nozzle.
white,
Yeah.
dump, 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 and blue is actually the worst because there's so little blue on it compared
Yeah,
to
so
the
you're
rest.
wasting loads and loads of blue, purging the nozzle
Huge
for the
amounts
next
of
colour.
it.
Yeah.
As I say, for getting one out, if you used 100 grams, let's say, of filament, only 15 of it ends up in the product. which is it's just terrible efficiency. But Vision Mixer is tired. We should let Vision Mixer go to bed.
I'm seeing that we've got a dead batteries-ish counter, so I'm guessing Vision Mixer was having trouble keeping up with our bullshit.
So, thank you very much for watching and joining us once again for a rundown of all of our print fails and general tosh that we have been talking all evening. We still have 8 people allegedly on the stream, which, assuming that's a good counter,
most of which are us, probably.
I wonder what the analytics actually tell me currently about anything. Nothing.
I love this. We were so close to wrapping up.
Nothing really useful.
Okay.
Average view, about 35 minutes. Not bad. So, thank you very much. Do keep out your eyes out for the videos which will be going up soon, because I'm finishing them this week and I'm putting them all up so they're ready to go. They'll be going out on Patreon early by at least 24 hours, and hopefully there should be 2 a week if I can get enough of them done for the next 4 weeks, because we have enough time to get that kind of level out. And there will also be at least 2 more live streams between now and the end of May, because John will be here for one and John will be here for the other one, potentially with yourself as well on that Wednesday.
We're actually going to use our 3rd seat for the first time
shocking, right?
Not the Christmas Just Been, the one before. Or was it the one before that we did?
And the one
baking?
before that, yeah. That was when we did
2
that.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We didn't do it last year,
Yeah.
so it'll be missing. The annual event didn't become
The annual event that happened once at the end of 22.
Biannual. So yes, there are many big plans. Hopefully we'll have many other people on as well in the coming months and such, as we get everything set up and working in here. It has been a massive effort from myself and Jess just to tear this place apart and put new things in and put extra tech in, so we have all of these graphics and we have all of this cool stuff kind of set up and working. But it has literally been almost a ground up rebuild and rewiring, and it's getting there. We also have an OB unit that we can now use as well, which is extremely cool.
OB?
Outside broadcast, which we'll be doing another test of probably in June ish, when we may be stripping down the gearbox that came out of my daily after the bearings in the diff completely collapsed and wrote off the gearbox to the point where we had to put a whole new one in. So that was that was not a fun month. But we did get it all done, and I was very thankful to the guys at, conveniently, Decimal Tenths, who did it all, being the Vito Barry
I'm still looking forward to finally meeting them at some point.
Yeah, at some point, honestly. They're such a good bunch of lads. We'll have to go up and do something at some point.
Yeah.
I'd say
convince them to come down here.
I'd say take the Thunderbird up, but you've already got a mortgage, and I can't afford a mortgage, so we're not going to get the fuel to do that. So, thank you very much. We will see you next time. Make sure you have liked the video. Obviously, you've all commented in the chat anyway, but throw a comment on the main video just to boost that spread up and boost that algorithm a little bit.
You've got a thumbs up from me. You're welcome.
Isn't it wonderful? I'm actually on my alt account on there from my
daily
puppet, my regular Google account,
That's illegal.
not the work account.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So it got a thumb there. Oh, it's actually jumped up. Everybody, I think, has done it, because it's gone from 3 and it's climbing rapidly to
good work, team.
6.
Reminder: you guys need to provide your own outro music.
Oh, I can't.
I forgot the theme
is.
now.
Yeah,
give me a second.
But we changed the outro music. Hang on, I can fix this to some degree, because I can just pull up a video, skip to the credits,
all right,
and just play it out on something.
I think that's what Tech nearly had for the intro of this one, and somehow lost it near the end, which is why, as we started, at least the first time, then it
I would if the Wi-Fi hadn't just dropped again. Sack it.
Technology.
Bye.
This is the part where Em just keeps it running for ages just to fuck with me.
Is it dinner time yet? Can I have lunch? I had breakfast.
I don't know. I genuinely
Can I have
don't
lunch
know
yet?
We'll find out in 2 minutes that it's